So now today we are going to talk about the variations and adjustments in the construction projects. So most mostly majority of us working on the building construction segment. So I will be touching the examples from the building, but lightly on the infrastructure part as well. But everything is same concept applies here and there. Don't worry about that. So I choose variation adjustments, which is related to FIDIC 2017 title for the variations. But if you go a different version that they talk about in different titles, but it doesn't matter that. Anywhere you see changes, variations, adjustments, and these all are pointing one topic, which is a variation, what we formally known as a variation. So this is not a specific topic to talk for hours and hours. This is a case studies normally. Everybody got to understand on this variation subject based on the cases. So today I'm not going to spend more time on the theory section because we don't have much theory here. We will try to engage on the question and answer and your cases. We'll try to solve the cases, then we will get some ideas. But there are few concerns that I need to spotlight for you guys because there are few concepts that you need to understand on the variations, few terminologies. So without knowing that, you won't be able to tackle in your workplace. Also, you won't be able to, if you're planning to do RICS or AIQS, you have to talk in construction buzzwords because everybody knows about variations. We did variation for years and years, and we hear about the variation, we learn about the variation. But when you talk in a meeting or when you're talking about this subject on the public platforms or on your on your what do you call APCs, you must talk in a proper language. Otherwise, they won't accept you. You can attend number of RICS interviews. Unless you talk proper language, they won't accept you. So first of all, I will slightly touch upon the definition of the variations. Definition in the sense it's not, there is no proper definitions, but I managed to prepare a definition for it from my language. On the other hand, I have given some terminologies which are very important to you guys to understand on the constructions what we use, because there are many people have misunderstanding on these terminologies and they end up with so many questions and confusion on their day-to-day life. So that I will explain about those things as well. Then the construction stages and variations. There are several stages in the construction, but we people deal only on the construction phase, which is the post-contract phase. After the contract sign, you are handling it until completion of the work, taking over certificate, then you finish. But no, that variation is not only that stages. Where there variation start from the beginning to the end of the project. Still, it is there on the operation part as well. And my current organization, which I am working, mostly I started from the design to the operations and even the dismantling of the project. I'm handling it. So I see all these are coming up. Variations are doing it on this even in the operation stage. I will give you an example. Contract provisions. I'm not going to talk about the FIDIC clauses here, but I will explain to you guys on the FIDIC clauses which talk about the variation, how we need to read and understand this clause. That's it. I'm not going to talk, because if you see variation clause, it connected to many other clauses on the contract. I will not going to talk about that things here. And the change management procedures, which is one of the very important part on the variation, which nobody don't take much priority on this part, but we will do it a little bit. And preparation of variation documents, which is most of us know that now we are working on the variation, we know how to prepare it, but I'm going to give you a little bit introduction on that. But I took an example from the consultant point of view, but not from the contractor, which is almost the same. I don't think much different is there. And the provisional sum, value engineering day works, which are related to the variations. And FIDIC at 1999, 2017, they connected the value engineering under the variations. And provisional sum, somebody had bad practice in administrating the provisional sum. So we'll talk about a little bit on that. And that day works also is an important part to talk on this matter. So moving to definitions, uh, feel free to stop anytime. If you have any questions, you can ask. Rather, we push the question to the end. We'll try to close it as much as earlier. Okay, but definitions, variations and adjustments refers to any alterations or modification to the original scope of works, which is drawing, specification, contract terms agreed upon the parties. Variation can include changes to quantities, materials, work methods, and this. See, definition, if you just Google it for the definition of the variation, it may come, because variation is not only in the construction industries. Let's say you go to a IT software technologies industry. There is a big industry. So in that industry as well, they are doing a variations. How they are doing a variations? For example, one IT software company come and agree with one multinational company that we are preparing for you a ERP system. Okay, then they said they are working on the ERP system and they work finish and everything is done. The ERP company said, okay, we have done the work. We are going to go now. And the multinational company would say that, no, 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 I have another company in Polonnaruwa. This is my head office. I need to integrate with that company. How you didn't do that? And this fellow would have to say, no, you agree with me for only preparing the ERP software. I didn't agree with you to do integration with the Polonnaruwa factories. So then let's do a variation. Okay, there is a variation is comes. And they don't call it as a variation. Sometimes they used to call it as a variation. Sometimes they say it is a changes to the scope. Because if you go industry to industry, they talk in a different language. But we in the construction, we say it as a variation. Because I know the people, I work and I study with the people who work in the softwares, who work in the strategy, who work in organization developments and management companies. They talk in a different language. When we meet them and they talk in a different language, we get some confusion why they are talking it is. Maybe these people don't know. Later I get to know that, okay, that is their culture. That is the term they are using it here. So basically, what is variations? What we agreed on the contract. We have a certain contracts which have a set of terms and conditions. Okay, then we have agreements that agreement is associated with all these terms and conditions. There is a drawing, specification, bill of quantities, material submittals, data sheet, whatever it is, so many documents compiled with that. Then that document is part of the contract. If the contractor or if the employer or any party associated with this, any stakeholders associated with this project, they come and say, no, I want to do these changes. So which you didn't price in your tender. You didn't get the information on your tender documents, or it was not signed part of the contract documents. So you say that it is a variation for me. But bear in mind, variations, somebody will badly interpret it that we used to say that variation to the contract. Okay, the terminology is very important. Variation to the contract is different, variation to the works is different. So what we do it here, variation to the works, level changes, specification changes, and material changes, quantity changes. This is variation to the works, not to the contract. Okay, don't say that variation to the contract. Whenever somebody said, he say variation to the works. Maybe people will get very difficult to digest that when you say that, but definitely you have to insist them. No, contract mean it is an entire contract. You need to change terms, conditions, agreements, and these all changing is the contract. That is the variation. Now you're not changing the contract entirely. You are changing the variation to the works. So you need to understand that concept. So in the definition, if you look at it, even in the FIDIC, under the variation clause, they see timeline changes, sequence changes, material changes, quantity changes. That is what the timeline is here. That is the timeline is what we talk about here on the definition. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some terminologies. Maybe some of you guys are familiar with these terminologies. But some of you might not be familiar. But if you don't, if somebody don't know about that, this terminologies, I'm going to tell you. So when you see, because now we are dealing with the FIDIC terms and conditions, and FIDIC condition of contract, general condition of contract. So first of all, when you open a contract, if you are a professional quantity surveyors, when you open a contract, the first job is you go to your definitions. Is that called definitions? Wait a second. Yes, it is definitions. Yeah, definitions. Definition in the sense, in your contract, you go the first clause, 1.1 of your any FIDIC contract, it will be called as a definition. So you go there and you have to read it word by word. And you need to understand that when you first start a project in any company, you work in a contractor, consultant, engineer, whatever it is, you go there and read the definition first. Because when you say works here in the contract terms, and this capital W works and small w works are totally different. So when I say variation to the works, that the works is come here, this W, not the small w. So when in a contract they call works, for example, you are building a building construction, 25-story building. So in that contract, anywhere they mention the works, capital W works, that defines the 25-story building works. Okay. When you say something small w works, it's something related to your homework. You do go home and do shopping and grocery and stuff like that. This also will come this small w works. So bear in mind that whenever you write whenever you're writing the contractual letters, you have to be careful about this capital W and small w. Whenever you say variation to the works, that capital W is very important. Okay, so that you need to understand the first definitions here. The second one is contractor and the contractor. Okay, both are contractors, but only the main capital letters and small letters. In the construction perspective, when you say contractor with a capital C, is the contractor who signed the contract with you. Okay, when you say contractor with the small c, is the contractor who's working in the project, can be subcontractor, nominated contractor, and whoever it is. Okay, maybe other contractor working in nearby site can be considered as a contractor. So who is the C? Capital C contractor is your contractor who signed the contract with client on this project. That is what contractors. So whenever you write the letter, you have to be careful on that. Whenever you say that, okay, the contractor is entitled to carry out this work according to this clause, when you put here capital small c, then nobody knows that the one who is reading, if somebody is a good contract administrator is reading the letter, maybe he will think that, okay, he's talking about the subcontractors, not the main contractor. So you have to be careful on that matter. And the engineer here, capital E, small e. This capital E engineer is the engineer in the project. Engineer mean you need to understand whenever you talk, if you are a professional quantity surveyors, whenever you talk, you have to talk in the proper terminologies. For example, if a project is executed under the FIDIC condition of contract, exactly the same FIDIC terms and condition of the contract. When you say that consultant, or when you go to the client, you are a contractor, let's say that you go and talk to the client, your consultant is not listening to me, he is rejecting everything and is not signing the inspections. Then if the client is an intelligent guy who knows about the contract and administration, then he will ask you, hang on a minute, which consultant you are talking about on this project? You will say, I don't have any consultant in this project. which then you are wrong on that concept, isn't it? So he will say, if he is a talented guy, he will say, no, I don't have any consultant in this project. I have a consultant who did the third party lift traffic studies and acoustic studies that I paid, and I mean, you don't have any relation with him. I appoint an engineer here. So there is no consultant in this project, because when you use a FIDIC says it is a consultant. Okay. And there is another slides I will show you, but you will get to know that different terms, different conditions, for example, JCT, NEC, and these are calling the consultant, calling the designer or the supervision team as a different terminology. Somebody will say architect, somebody will say project manager, somebody will say consultant, somebody will say FIDIC says engineer. So you need to understand, when you say capital E engineer, he is the engineer who design or supervise or whoever it is a representative engineer on the site. When you say small e, the engineer who is working under the contractor, under the subcontractor, under the consultant, who is a design supervision consultant, there will be an engineer for site supervisor, no? Also called as a small engineer. So don't mix it that. Whenever you talk to the people, you have to talk perfectly as per the contract language. And another key point is here, two things: permanent works and temporary works. So in a construction, you price the project. Okay. Let's say that I ask you to build a one tower, 5-story, for example. In that project, if you divide that project cost, you have a permanent works cost and temporary work cost. Other than that, nothing is here. Okay. There will be a soft cost and stuff like that, but that is a design things and stuff. Don't make it confusion here. But when it's come to a breakdown of the contractor price, it is a permanent work and temporary works. Permanent work is what? After you finish the work, after you complete the work, the things that available that exist on the site. Okay, you are going to build a 5-story house here. After you complete the work, you leave that site place. No, there is a site here. You left the site. Okay. After that, that 5-story building is there, and there are MEP things and all stuff and everything there, finishes and everything is there. Okay, but to construct this work, you have your site office, you have your access road, and you have your site fence, you have your security house, and you paid salaries for the engineers and stuff like that. When you leave the site, that is these things will not be no more there. No, these all will take it away with you. You will take it out and you go there. So when you leave the site, whatever it's come with you, okay, throughout the project duration, it was with you, then comings with you. These are the temporary works, which is not belongs to the site. What it is existing on the site is the permanent works. So this permanent works is the building. The temporary work is the preliminaries. That is priced on the preliminaries, the temporary works. Permanent works priced on the measured BOQ item. So this is very important. When you say capital P here, permanent works and the temporary works. This is very important here. So whenever you talk to the people, you have to be mindful on this permanent works and temporary works. When you collaboratively talking about the preliminaries, you can say that it is a temporary works. If you are confident that that is a temporary works, then you can argue with somebody. Some other people they try to interpret it in a different way. If you are confident that it is a temporary works, is full of a permanent the temporary works that is related to the preliminary price, you can say that it is a temporary works. And these two things are very confusing to the people: plant and the contractor's equipments. Uh, Contractor's equipments and plants. Somebody will say that I used to be reminded that before the plant, in the sense, the plant like the tower cranes and bobcats and forklifts on the sides and stuff like that. That is not the plant. As per the FIDIC, when it's a plant, is the, for example, chill water machine, chill water pump, and air cooled chillers and chiller plant, and these all are called as a plant. This plant is coming under the permanent works, so it's very clear now. So these tower cranes and bobcats and stuff like that are coming under the temporary works. Okay, So when you say this plant, capital P plan is coming under the permanent works, which is AC machines and stuff like that. It's whenever you finish the work, it doesn't come with you. It is exist on the building. So this is the plan. When you say contractors equipments, okay, that is the things that coming under the what do you call that? Yeah, this cranes and stuff like that. All of the temporary equipments, the JCPs and grader and stuff like that. What contractors using on the site. So that is coming under the contractors equipments. So moving on to the next slide. This is the terminologies which you need to be remind always. Moving on to the next slides. Ashir have a questions. Yes.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. I have a small questions. Can you go for the previous slide, please, if you don't
Hmm.
mind? The
Yeah.
plan means you teach us like it's supposed to be like chill water pumps and other things, right? Related to
Hmm.
the permanent work, which is related to the project, right? So
Yeah.
we have earlier we have a permanent work in the permanent work is above the temporary works. Why it is not falling under the uh, permanent work? I mean, the planned items. Why it is not fell under the permanent work? It's confusing for me.
Which one? I mean, can I get the question again clearly?
Yeah, uh, you mentioned that plans,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Hmm.
Plans just means um, you teach us like it is a chill water pumps and chill water
Yeah.
related and other things, right?
Yeah.
This also will be continuous as a permanent work.
Yes, it's a permanent works.
Okay, so why they in the FIDIC
Hmm.
they separated as a planned? It's supposed to be in the permanent work, right? Why it is not under the permanent work?
No, no. What I'm talking about here, the FIDIC definitions, because when you go to the for example, why FIDIC is put this especially this one under the definition, they know that people get confused. When you go to the material on site clause on the FIDIC, they will say material on site, the site that delivered to the material that delivered to the site plus plant. So somebody trying to misinterpret that plant is the one they brought this tower cranes and bobcats and JCP to the site, so they need to get paid for that. Okay, for that reason, what FIDIC did it actually, Mr. Contractor, when I say plan, it is not that plant. It is the plan that you bring all these, all of your equipment that associate to the permanent works. That is what they said, but they nowhere they said that this plant, except the definition, nowhere they said okay, it is should come under the permanent works. That is what I said. Whenever you open a contract, you have to see go first and read the definitions, because sometime if the FIDIC if the contract is drafted by like let's say bespoke contract, definitely they will tell okay, my plant is this plant, it is tower cranes and stuff like that, not the chiller and ziller machines and a fire pump and stuff like that. That is what I'm telling. In the FIDIC plant, in the sense, they if you go to even if you go to FIDIC 2017 1.1.65, they clearly mention that. Okay, that is indeed to forming a part of the permanent works. They say that. When I say plant, it is part of the permanent works. So what our this tower cranes and stuff like that, so it is part of the temporary works. So that is the definition. Here is clear or still confusing?
No, no, it's clear. It's clear. It's clear now, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it is depend. I'm not talking about the norms actually. It is still depend on your definition of the contract. But what I'm reading it, FIDIC 2017, it says plant in the sense it is not, it is the things that forming the part of the permanent works. Okay, so when our plan, when we used to read the plan, when we say that these temporary stuff, and it is coming under temporary, so that is what I'm trying to clear here, because this definition, this plant will come under the variation and material on site clauses. That is what I'm trying to clear it here. Okay, so this is just a brief on the construction stages of variation. So when I'm just looking for these stages of the constructions, I get to I get this graph actually. I just mentioned the reference it is here because somebody has to, they have a copyright, so I just mentioned their name as well here. Somebody should not quote at me that this is not your one, it's someone else. That's fine. Now this graph is started from here. This is the construction project starting points. Okay. Then it is a completions. So this is the project stages. Okay. Then uh, this is ease of changing. So now they said from the planning stage to the completion stage. So they didn't talk about the operation phase here. They just finish with the taking over certificate. So why I mentioned this graph is here. I want to tell you that variation is not only during the construction. Okay, the construction is here is end. Variation it's come during the design phase as well. So in the design phase, uh, two different scenarios. One is the consultant who is doing the design to the employer. Okay, he has his contract. So most of the design consultant or consultant service agreements, we call it as a service agreement. Okay, that is not construction contract. That is a service agreement because the design consultant is offering the service to the client. So we call it as a service agreement. That service agreement is normally they use it FIDIC white book for the service agreements. So if you go to the FIDIC white book, I don't remember the clause exactly, but it should be somewhere on the clause number 4. There is a variation clause also. So that is a variation in that stage as well, because now you went back to a consultant, you say that okay, Mr. Consultant designed for me a 5-story residential plus commercial tower. Then you say that okay, these are my requirements, outline my requirements and all that. You started to design it. Then you would say that no, I don't want the commercial on this residential. I will fully go for the residential. Then when you add the residential, remove the commercial. Commercial area is meant to be open space, no, which is we call it shell and co. Now, if you add the residential on that areas, then the consultant should have to do an interior design for the residential area as well. If the building is not typical. So the consultant would come and say, Mr. Client, I have a problem and I need to have a variation on this because you asked me to do a commercial and residential. Now you said that go for only residential, then I need to do interior design. I need to pay for my interior designer here. Plus the MEP guys has to do the design, and there is a chill water design has to be changes, and so many changes will come. If we said okay, that is a variation. So variation started when the planning stages itself. Okay, then that is the consultancy fees changes on the consultancy fees. Plus now the client, when the beginning stage, okay, he has a budget of 20 million. Okay, then when he is trying to add the residential to the 2 floors, then he need to go for additional interior designs. Then his shell and core is no more there, no. So you need to build the walls and bathrooms and ceilings and partitions and chill water additional, power additionals and stuff like that will be added. So there is a variations. So another X amount will be added on his budget 20 million. Okay. So there are two different variations started from here. So variation started from the beginning of the project. From the starting of the project, it goes through the constructions and it goes to the operation as well. Okay, I said about the operation, I will tell you. Now, what this graph is says, which is the most feasible, most uh, doable time, the variations are at the beginning of the project. When it goes to end of the project, the ease of changes is so difficult. Okay, when you reach to the end of the project, completion of the project, the changing is very difficult, because if you change one thing, it associates with everything. For example, if you say that I wanted to place a toilet here, then later you said I don't want a toilet here. Then what you need to do? The fellow who did the concreting, he did all the drainage pipe and sewage pipe and everything in buried on the concretes and stuff like that. When you say I don't want toilets, and there's no use of it. Sometime you need to remove this old stuff there. You know, sometime you need to maybe the guy who did the MEP design, because of that toilet, because MEP guys, they find the space, put their machines on the toilets. Normally they are FCUs or AHUs, they find the place on the toilet. When you say no, I don't want the toilet here, cancel the toilet attached to the rooms, when you need to find the toilet place to fix his AC machines. So difficult to do a changes at the later stage of the constructions. So it's very easy to do it at the beginning stage, because these are still, until this stage, these are still on the paper. It's still on the drawings. You can do anything whatever you want. Once it is started building, it's very difficult. So that is what they said. Whenever you know you need to do a changes, you have to do it at the beginning stage. Later it will be very difficult to do the changes on a project. And it's similar to the case where, you know, that when you come to an RICS dispute resolutions, what do you call that, dispute management, and I don't exactly remember that competencies. Dispute resolution, I think, dispute management and resolution, something like that. So what this is said, normally the best place you to avoid the dispute in the project is the pre-contract stage. You know, how best you deliver your things with fully coordinated drawings, fully coordinated specification, aligned with the contract documents, and everything is perfectly done. There won't be a variation in the project in future. If there is a variation, it can be very clearly doable, and there won't be a dispute in future. That is what they said. Whenever it is the right time for you to do the things at the beginning stage of the project, which is in a pre-contract stage. That is what this arrow marks is say, that if you want to avoid the variations in the project, whatever the change, make changes here. When you reach to this stage, and the party is more involved in the project, because in this, till this stage, the project is only the consultant and the engineer who is doing the design. When it's come to this stage, you know, there are many parties, main contractor, subcontractor, nominated contractor, MEP designers, and so many parties is here. And it's very difficult to do your design changes on this stage to implement on the project. That is what they said, do changes on here. I'm just highlighting here that for you, that if you go to RIBA plan of work, guys, which is very important piece of documents for everybody, you won't be understand now unless you don't reach to that stage when it's important for you. But it is a very important for documents. Whenever I go that, I just downloaded the latest version of that and I kept in my desktop everywhere in any company I go, because this is the book that give the constructions a very clear manner, from where it is starting and from where it is ending, and they define that which stage, which procurement, which contract to be used here. If you want to Google it, just Google it, RIBA, Royal Institute of Business Architect, plan of work, latest version. It might be 2023 version, might be there or here. So if you go there, they define it, planning and designing, which is the planning and designing in this stage. Okay, here, which the stage is showing here, they categorize up to here. Okay, strategic definition in the sense, strategically you make a decision to build this building, because people not just come and build the building. No, they don't just decide over the night and in the dream and they come and build that. No, they have so many studies, you know, financial feasibility studies, technical feasibility studies, and so many studies they have done it. Then end of the day, they said return on investments. If I invest on this project this much today, after 5 years I need to get the benefit from this project. Maybe the project going to be loose. So that is what we do, a market studies. In future, this place is how far populated this place, how far will be busy this place, and how people will like this places. So those are the strategic decision to be made. That is the stages here, strategic definitions. Then you prepare the brief. You made a decision that you brief it. You prepare a brief that, okay, I'm going to make this. and it's like a report things. Then once the report is gone and the parties agreed and stakeholders are okay, then project is going to be a concept design. So the concept design, schematic design, technical design. So they said that these are the stages is most easy to accommodate the changes. If you reach to construction stage, we know that. We all from the construction, we know that how it is difficult to handle all these things. And the operations. I'm going to talk about the operations. Operations normally is a facility management, people who's handling it. Like, in the construction, the contractor is doing. For example, ex-contractor in UAE is the best contractor to do this building. They do the work, and which you guys don't know that there is an operation part. It is a huge industry in the UAE, which is we call it facility management, FM services. So that there are contractors to do this work, facility management. So this facility management mainly they divided as two scope of works, which is a hard services and soft services. So soft services is kind of cleanings and hard cleaning and soft cleanings and annual cleanings and stuff like that. These all are related to cleaning plus your security services. If you need a security to your building, they will provide the security as well. That is coming under the soft services. And the hard services, it is the AMC, annual maintenance contract. For example, firefighting system. As per the civil defense, you need to do annual maintenance on the firefighting system. Okay, they will appoint the maintenance company. So that is coming under the AMC. Also, your chiller and on your AC system and your firefighting system, on your access control system. These all are without a maintenance, it cannot be run. It has to be maintained. And there are CCTV operators and there are BMS system operators. These all operators and maintenance people are coming under the hard services. Also, they have a contract like us. We have a contract in a FIDIC 99, FIDIC 87, FIDIC 2017. They have their own contracts. They have a variations. They have a changes. They have adjustments. So it happens there as well. Not only in our industries, in facility management industry also is happened. For example, when I deal recently in one facility management hard services, and the guy who quoted soft services, the guy who quoted for cleaning services, okay, when we give a tender to him, he priced it for the normal cleaning, okay. When they started the work and 2 months has gone, the guy who did the painting, which is not the contractor, is not under the defect liability period, they brought some third party to do the painting, and he did the painting on the ceiling. He fell down, I mean, he dropped some drops of painting on the floor, and this facility management company, they come and do the cleaning from their normal liquid that they used to would clean it here. It doesn't go that the painting. So they said no, we need to have a special liquid here, washing liquid here to apply. So we go to the contract and list on the liquid what they ask for it. It is not there on the contract. Then it is a variation to them. We said, okay, you buy 5 gallons of this liquids, we'll pay for you as a variations. So how it is variation? See, variation is everywhere. It starts from the construction. It is still until you demolish the building. Even the guy who's demolishing the building also, you will ask a variation. You come and show him the building from outside. Normally, the people who don't much educated that they do these demolition works. You come and show, he will come and round the building. He say, okay, give me 60,000. Then when he started doing the work, he said, there are a big chiller on the roof. I cannot take it. You didn't show it to me on the rooftop. How can I take this? I need this special crane to remove this chiller and take it down and this and. So it is very important that is what I said. How best you prepare a contract on this stage, okay? This is the best stage that you avoid the disputes. So you need to understand all this concept that how the variation is tackling on the stages of the constructions. I gave you with some examples and I thought that it might be sufficient for you. Let's move to the contract provisions. So I'm not going to talk about all the provisions in the contract. I mention it here, FIDIC White Book 2006. Also FIDIC 99 Red Book. I mentioned it somewhere about the green books and the orange book. Sorry, the orange book. Also, you guys need to be well aware. Just when you have a time, just go and read this close. you will not get it in one time. These are very, the terminologies are very crucial here, because this used by the lawyers and expert in the industries. Like, when you read the doctor prescription, you don't understand anything. If you read first time this, you will not understand anything unless you get the proper guidance and you read it with the peace of mind. So just whenever you had a time, just take out these books from your friends or anybody's. Very important for us, even though you are using or not using it. I'm really, I'm going to talk much on this 87, because this 87 is the foundation to everybody. The industries mostly use this 87 for long time of period, and when the people started working on 99 FIDIC Red Book, and immediately 2017 came on picture. So most of the shift happened from 87 to 2019. People are not much practice on 99, but 99 and 2017 are almost the same. So, but 87 is good to learn things. So that is what I insist you guys to read and understand the 87. So also you try to read the white books, yellow books, red books of physics, even go to the green books. So I don't need to tell you that what is green books, and these all colors of the books are defined different purposes, different procurements. So you need to be thorough on that. Maybe you guys will learn on the procurement strategy on this. So my target is to do another half an hour on the theory part, then we go to the question and answer. So not much spending on that this time, especially FIDIC Red Book 1987, fourth edition, is talk about the variation on the clause 51.1. So the clause is that the engineer shall make of the form, quality or quantity of the works of any part of thereof, okay, that may, okay, here you understand, make of the form, okay, form in the sense, in the shape, quality, quantity of the works. Works mean what? Full works, okay, capital W, full works, or any part of the works, not the full works, part of the full works thereof that may, in his opinion, okay, engineer's opinion. So if you go to the clause earlier in the FIDIC, in 1999, I think it's clause 3, the client has already given authority to the engineers. There are certain things he can determine, he can certify, he can adjust. Those are the rights of the engineer already given. So after that, this clause came and said that, okay, his opinion being necessary and for that purpose. Okay, in these two terminologies, that is what I, especially for these two terminologies, there were three terminologies, okay, I took this 87 clause for you guys to understand what is about the variations. This terminology is very important for you guys, which is necessary, appropriate, vitiate. We will not read all this. I know that you guys have read million times on this. Okay, what is necessary? The engineer, in his opinion, be necessary. I remember that Professor Sam, he used to tell that necessary examples. When you have a slab, okay, and there is a beam. On that beam, the engineer, he failed to add additional bars because of that load. He might do some errors or whatever it is. The bars are not there. Bars are there, but not enough, not sufficient. It is a reinforcement bar. So you need to add that bar. It is an important, it is a necessary. Without that bar, the building cannot be there. It can be collapsed. So it is important. It's like, we have a wants or needs. It is the needs. It is not a want. Okay, that's necessary for us. And for that purpose, or if any other reasons, because now they said it is necessary. So the engineer will come and instruct only for the necessary things? No, client said, oh, I need to change the paint from beige color to the white color. So that is not necessary, no? Even without that color, white color also the building can run. Now, the white color or beige color is not necessary. So the engineer will say that, no, I will not instruct the variations. So that is what the FIDIC is given freedom to the engineer or not the freedom, it's the instruction to the engineer, FIDIC given instruction to the engineer, be appropriate. So that, okay, it can be necessary, but it need to be appropriate also. As a client, for me is appropriate is beige color. It's none of your business. For me is appropriate is a beige color. I need a beige color. So FIDIC said, okay, it should be a necessary and also is an appropriate. Then he shall have the authority to instruct the contractor to do the contract, to do the contractor to do that, and the contractor shall do any of the following. So these are the changes: increase or decrease on the quantities, omit any such work but not give it to the other contractors. We know that. Change the character of the character or quality. This is related to the specifications. Okay. Increase or decrease of the quantities. This is related to the quantities. Okay. This is the direct omissions. Then change the levels. Okay. This is the level changes. That is the levels on the building. You can go height, reduce, and stuff like that. Then execute additional works of any kind of necessary, complete the works. Okay. Again, here is the necessary. Okay. Necessary to complete the work, which is important to complete the work. They give you an additional works. Change any specified sequences. Okay. Is the program changes. Okay. Sequence when you say the program, or timing of the construction. It is the total time for completion of the contract. When you change the contract sequence, definitely it will impact the time, but not only necessary that you can change internally as well. The planner, he put the sequence like, after completing the block work, then you do the next slab, then you do the next block work, and you do the next slab. Sometime they would say that no need to do the block work, only do the columns and do the slab and column and do the slab and come down after that do the block work. Though the sequence can be changed. So that is what they said, the sequence here. Then of any part of the works. Then they said no such variation shall in any way vitiate the contract or invalidate the contract. Then they given another instruction to the engineer. FIDIC given another instruction to the engineer. Okay, you have the right to do a variation for necessary, appropriate, level change, quantity change, whatever it is. But don't come and instruct something which is vitiate the contract, which is totally changing the contract. Again, I'm taking a good example because it is easy to understand, and still I remember from Dr. Sham what he used to say, that you appoint the guy to an infrastructure company to do the flyover. Okay. Then somehow the municipality, the authority come and say that no, you cannot do the flyover in these areas. You try to find the alternative ways. Then your engineer decided, okay, let's do the tunnel. Okay, then with that you cannot come and say the variation to the contractor. Okay, now the scope is changed, not the flyover, is tunnel. Then it is totally vitiating the contract. It is invalidating the contract, because this contractor, the one who is supposed to do a flyover, is expert in a flyover. Is not expert on the tunneling works, because tunneling is a different studies, ground studies and tunneling expertise, and Richard knows about this whole tunneling stuff. Concrete, this flyover guys will do the flyovers. They will come and do the soil testing and do the piling, and they will just hang on the beams and put the guardian wall, then finish. The flyover is done. But the tunnel is not the same. So with the same contract, you cannot go and instruct the variation. Okay, omit flyover and make a tunnel. No, that is a vision. So that is what FIDIC is strictly given instruction to the engineer. Don't do that. That is not a variation. That entirely you close the contract and do a new contract with a new company. Do new tender. That is what. Okay, that is FIDIC 51.1 on the variation, and 51.2, and I don't need to go much on this. It is contractor shall not make any such variation without instruction of the engineer. This is very important here. They cannot make a variation without instruction of the engineer. And 52.1, all variation refer to 51, because they said okay, the variation should be under 51. This is the evaluation of the variations. That is also, I don't need to go that, because you know that how to do a variation, the rate should be there, and stuff like that. And if when you have a questions, you can ask on this matter. So, FIDIC 2017, if you go to the 2017 is a little bit different from 1987. I can say totally different. Sorry, because the way they design, because how these versions are updated based on the industry requirements. So day by day, they used to see that these 87 clauses are became uh, not applicable to the new industries. So they started upgrading with the industry experts and ideas. So that's how they made this FIDIC at 2099 and consequently with they did it 2017. So 2017, the 13.1 right to vary. Right to vary means that you can vary. That the meaning of right to vary is that you can vary the contract. Okay, that how it is defined. Variation may be initiated by the engineer. Here, engineer, uh, subclause 13.3. Okay, which is variation procedures. It's mentioned here. So variation can be initiated by the engineer under the subclause 13.3, which is a variation procedures on FIDIC 2017 at any time before the issuance of the taking over certificate for the works. Okay. Now, these things was not clear on FIDIC 87. Even me, I had a confusion that, okay, when the contractor can, consultant can initiate the variation, when the consultant can instruct the variations, we had a confusion. Okay, now contract period is 1 year, for example, no, 2 year contract, let's say, and there is a 1 year defect liability period. So the total contract period is how long? 1 year, 2 year construction plus 1 year defect liability means still that 1 year contractor is there on board. Still this contract is valid. This contract is when it will become invalid when they give a discharge letter. You know that we are discharging from this work and this contract is no more valid from that point of view. So now they said that before the issuance of the taking over certificates. Now you will have a question though, okay, then what about the variation during the defect liability period? I found something which is needed. I cannot bring someone else to do the work because this defect liability guys are on site. So I need to instruct to this guy. How can I instruct it? That is what FIDIC said, other than as stated under the subclause 11.4, which is failure to remedy for defects. This is talk about the defect liability period. Okay. Now they said variation can be instructed before the issuance of the taking over certificate other than the clause 11.4. So it's mean you can issue the instruction even during the defect liability period also. Then you go back and read 11.4, which will be more clear that they can issue work something like that. It's not straight away say that okay they can do the remedy works. They can do the contractors on board. They can do the remedy works. You can go and ask him remedies. You can ask him to close the snacks and de-snacks and stuff like that. Then a variation shall not compromise omission of any works which is to be carried out by other employer or other, because this is the same case on what was in 87. The contractor shall not be bound by each variation instructed under the clause 13.3.1 variation by the instruction and shall execute the variation with due expiration and without delay unless the contractor promptly gives notice to the engineer stating with the detailed supporting particulars. Only one, there are three reasons that you can say that I cannot do the variations. These are the varied works unforeseeable having regarded to the scope, nature of the works and described in the specification is unforeseeables and stuff like that. You having a difficulties on the works which you cannot understand what is there inside. The contractor cannot readily obtain the goods required for the variations. This very good example that specification is said that bring the steel for the steel structure from Ukraine and you cannot do a logistic to the Ukraine. There is an issue with the Ukraine. So the material cannot come to UAE. So that goods is not ready. So that he can say, come back and say that Mr. Klein, I have a problem because specification is said this and I wanted to bring it. Then how can I do that? So it is a problem. And it will adversely affect the contractor's ability to comply with the subclause 4.8 health and safety. There is a, because any contract or any contractors, they have to mostly worried about the health and safety issues and environmental issues. If that instruction vitiate the environmental issues, they can say that, okay, hang on, I cannot do this variation, these are the problems. So you cannot just deny and left over on this. You come back and say with the detailed supporting particulars. Okay, you cannot say that escape from here, they will not bring to another contractor do that. Okay, you give a supporting document, I will review it, then I will come back to you with the solutions. This is what it says. It doesn't say that you cannot just leave without doing these variations. Then promptly after the receiving this notice, the engineer shall respond by giving a notice to the contractor cancelling, okay, conforming, or varying the instruction. That is what I said. No, you bring the document to me, I will review the document, I will cancel it. Okay, I need a steel from Ukraine, I cannot do the work, so I will cancel it. Or conforming, I will say, okay, you somehow bring it from there, I will pay you anything. Conforming or varying the instruction, then I would say, okay, go and get the steel from Malaysia, I don't want from Ukraine. Varying. Okay, any instruction to confirm over the vary, it shall taken as an instruction under the clause 13.3.1 variation by instruction. This is the same things what we have traded here. Changes quantities and any item included in the contract, however such quantity do not necessary to consider the variation. Changes the qualities, changes the levels, omission of any works carried not carried out by others, additional work plan materials. Here is the by Asir plant. So now when you say plant, you will bring one crane and you will add another three crane after. You will come and say, no, no, I brought three crane and pay for me a variation. No, that crane is not part of this plant. That can go and find the rate on your preliminaries, not on your BOQs. Okay, that is what that is what I already mentioned about it. And also here, permanent works. So that is what I try to highlight, that the meaning of it, permanent works. So, and the changes of the sequence and timing and executions. The contractor shall not make any alteration to or a modification to the permanent works until the engineer instruct via under the variation of the clause 13.3. You cannot do any variation unless you get an instruction, official instructions. That is what it says. Then let's go to the next. Okay, this is the provision in the contract. I'm going a little fast because we have 2 hours to cover many things. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the last moment. Or maybe you don't say that I don't understand anything. Maybe we will do another class, because if I'm spending a time, you need to understand. Otherwise, it's no use of my time and no wasting of your time. So it's feel free to tell me anything in any language, no problem, but only English and Tamil. So we looked at the clauses in 87 because it will give you foundations, and we moved to the 2017, which is the latest one. Now the industry is trying to evolve with this 2017. Then let's move to the change management. Change management is an important things. You go to the RICS, everybody will ask you this. At least you will get a question in this part, but I don't put much information. Listen that this slide is for my information only, for me to track what I should tell you, not for you to give your information, or not you to give study the things. I'm just, for me, I need to understand what I'm going to tell next. That is what this slide is here. But if you want, I will share the slides, but I don't think that it won't help you much. But anyway, something is important. Anyway, whenever I'm putting the things on the slides, I'm trying to put their reference, because they would come and not quote in me in future that, okay, this is my documents and how can you copy and paste there. So that is why I kept the reference here, which is ethical also. You need to understand that it is, we are doing an RICS and chartered quantity surveys. I will tell you something. I don't want to teach you continuously. When you are a chartered quantity surveyor or not chartered quantity surveyors, when you are a professional quantity surveyors, I used to tell everybody, there are new set of group here. Guys, try to maintain your ethics. Ethics in the sense, not only in your work. Okay. When you deal with the societies, when you deal with your friends, when you deal with your family, when you deal with your kids, wives, try to maintain the ethics. Ethics is not that set of documents that issued by the RICS. Ethics is what it should come from our culture. Okay. We all are Muslims, and we need to know that what is ethics. We don't need somebody to tell us what is ethics. Ethics is there in our culture itself. You know, I don't like the people that who is trying to discriminate that okay, he's this color, he's that color, and somebody said okay, he's from this country, he's from that country, he don't know how to talk, and these all are not good. If okay, you have an opinion about him, don't discharge in front of him. You go there on yourself. You say that. Otherwise, you know somebody that who is confident that he will not disclose with anybody. Tell them that. But in one of the RICS ethics is don't discriminate others. That is what one of the main things. So for me, if anybody works under me, I like the people who follow the ethics. Ethics in the sense, not the RICS ethics, ethics in our cultures. So try to maintain that. That will give you a decent growth on your life. Life mean in your professional life as well as your personal life. Because it gives you personalities. And once you have a better personalities, it give you a personal brand. You can gain a brand. Because somebody used to tell that okay, this guy is perfect on this. It is your brand. So you try to build up a good brand, not the bad brand. You know that go back in our countries, we have so many people in a different brand. Or not all of their brands are bad. And I don't want to talk about it. So we professional QSs, whether you work here, whether you work in another country, so wherever you do, wherever you go, wherever you engage with your families, try to maintain the ethics. Okay. Uh, Coming back to the change management procedures. So this is not part of any contract documents. This is not part of the FIDIC documents. This is not part of your any of your study documents. But it is a very important things everybody used to ask. But this is the tools that used by project to project, or it can be a company to company, the client to client, or consultant to consultant, or the contractor to contractor. They have their own tools how to handle the changes. Mostly the client will have these tools. What they do, every starting of the project, they will come and tell the parties, okay, if I am a client, let's say I'm a client, I sign the contract with the contractor. Tomorrow they are going to start the work. Okay, if I'm a commercial manager in a client, I will call the commercial manager of consultant, the engineer, and I will call the commercial manager of contractor. I will come and say, okay, this is my change management procedures. This is my tools that any changes occurred in the project that has to be deal throughout this flow. That is my change management procedures. Don't get confused. If anybody come and ask you that what is change management procedure, what is that, then don't get panic. The simple thing is what when you start the project, because when I've been in RICS panel last from 2019, okay, almost 5 years, and I used to go every time for the panel, every year 2 times. Maybe I used to get, let's say that 3 days rows of interviews, maybe 12 20 candidates in the sessions. In the 2 years, in a 1 year, you get a 2 sessions. So I used to do 40 almost candidates in 1 year. I used to put the questions based on the summary of experience. Whenever I read and understand their summary of experience, my mind will tell that, okay, this guy doesn't know about the change management procedures. Okay, I used to put that question to him, that to ask to check that whether he right about the change management procedure or no. Because you bear in mind in RICS, somebody will think that okay, if I don't write, they will not ask the question. But there are basic things in the RICS. There are basic things to the QS, which is procurement, change management procedures, variation, stuff like that. Even you don't need to write. Somehow the panel, somehow the assessor will bring this question to you to ask if you don't write properly. Somebody will wrote that. Somebody has written that documents, the change management procedure, but in a wrong manner. To test their capacities also, we put this question. So most of the time we used to ask this question, and they get panic on this matter. Some of them, they get panic on this matter because they they are thinking in a different ways. They think that it is a big bunch of documents. No, don't panic with that. Change management procedure is what a client, an employer coming and telling to the people of consultant and the contractor, this is how I need to handle the changes on the project. Okay, but he cannot just deliver it orally, that message. He is putting in a document wise. He is putting in the document form. It's like a flow chart form. This is here. Okay, so that is the things. So I will tell you that how it occurs. But before that, I want to tell you something. When I'm trying to study on this, I'm gonna give you something on this matter. So I started to find some documents, some articles. I found that is what I said earlier, that each form of contract, they call the consultant or what you call engineer or whoever it is in a different name. I will show you that. So this document, that is the reason I brought it here. Here is the FIDIC. Okay, here is the NEC. You know that new engineering contract or something like that, and JCT, the Joint Contract Tribunal, something like that, is from UK. This is also UK, but they use for the engineering construction project. This is international, and NEC also used to, somebody is using it here as well. So FIDIC, they mention the duration, which is the not yet, this is 28 days or something like that. And here is the things. They said engineer evaluations. So the consultant called under the FIDIC is engineer. That is what I'm trying to say here. And under the NEC, they call it a project manager. Okay, the one who is doing the same job of like consultant here, they call it as a project manager. And they call it under the JCT architect / contract administrator. They might call architect. They call the architect who is designing the building. Contract administrator, that the one who is, we have it engineer, which is supervision engineer. They call it a contract administrator. That is the reason I brought it here. And this is their change management procedure. They explain it, but it is not much detail actually. This is the one, is a detailed one. I'm trying to come here. So as I mentioned it here, change management is differ between the contract. It is not the same flow that you need to follow in every contract, because it differ from contract to contract and procurement to procurement and the consultant to consultant, client to client, contractor to contractor. It varies. There is no standard, and it comes all after you sign the contract. Client will come and bring it and give it to you, this document, and we follow that. Sometime it might be there under the general requirement of your specifications, not your specification that for the works, not for the brickworks, blockworks, plaster, cement, paint. No, not that. Under that, there are section called under the specification general specifications, which is mostly talk about the preliminaries and quality controlling, change management, and stuff like that. Under that, this change management procedure might be there. So basically, what change management procedure is, you identify the change. Change can be identified anybody. Okay, client come and say that I need change from marble to the ceramic. Contractor come and say that I need to add additional bar, because when I do the detail drawing, this bar is not enough. Then my designer is recommended to do the add the bar. Okay, reinforcement bar on the beam. Client consultant come and say no, this AC capacity is not enough. That was a wrong design. I need to do the changes. So anybody can do the change. So that first we recognize that the change from where. Okay, client says anybody, whoever is identify the change, just let us know that there is a change. Okay, that is the first step of it. Whoever can identify the change, client go and verbally instruct that. Okay, that then once somebody is instructed verbally, you just, contractor, you need to have a form that we call it CVI form, no, confirmation of verbal instruction form. Whenever client come to the site and say that okay, I need this change, just fill the form and give him to get the sign. Whenever he said on the meeting that I need this changes, just fill the form and give him to get the sign. So these are the documents that you are collecting. Maybe there is a changes came because in the RFI, when you raise the request for information to the consultant, this Mr. Consultant, you design the project, but the reinforcement bar is missing here. Then he will respond to you on that. Okay, at this bar is subject to the variation. then that document is your variation instruction. But anyway, anybody instruct the variation, that has to go as a formal procedures. Then, and this changes is recognized first step. Then the client should know that okay, there is a changes is recognized on the project. So then they decided first step is the recognitions. Second step is the initial potential changes. We need to see that it is a potential changes or not. The client will decide, okay, that the changes, okay, they identified something, whether it is important or not. So what you should do that, whatever the form of changes is came, that you send to the consultant, and consultant will send to the client. Okay, client would say that, okay, go ahead with these changes. So that will come. When they say, go ahead with these changes, so what consultant will do? They formally they prepare a variation instructions. According to the contract, they need to instruct the variations. Sometime some client will ask, okay, I accept the changes, but I need the time and cost impact on it. So again, consultant will come back and say to the contractor, okay, client is okay with the changes, but he need the time and cost impact. Okay, then they submit the time and cost impact to the consultant, and the consultant will review and go back to the client, and client say, okay, I'm happy with the time and cost. Okay, do this, instruct to the contractor. Then instruction is gone. They started working. Then they started working, and after that they can submit the variations. So this process is is mentioned in some of the documents that you need to do in this process. First, identify the changes, recognize the changes, whether it is potential or not, see the cost and time impact, get the approval from the client, consultant to review and stuff like that, and instruct the variations and ask them to submit with the proper documentations. This, the management, how you're managing the changes. It is differ between the client. Some client would say that, okay, no need to come back, I have enough money, you carry on the work and come and ask me the variation, knock the door, I will give you the money. Some client says, no, even a 1 dirham in the project, don't do it unless my written approvals. So based on their requirements, they write a documents, which is a change management documents. So that is how, don't get confused. These all are coming under the change, which is part of the variation things. 122, 122. So let's move to preparation of variation, guys. I don't want to spend much time on that because everybody time to time we prepare variations. First, you know that I took from my samples, my previous consultant company. First, when you prepare a variations, we need to see as a consultant, as a client, first instruction. Okay, you get instruction and what engineer recommended for you, whether time and cost or cost only or time only, and write the narrative of the scope of works on the documents and attach the bill of quantities. It's mean not the bill of quantities, summary of your experience. Oh, sorry, summary of your variations. You have 10 line item on that variation, put that under BOQ and proof that what is the rate from where you get from BOQ or quotation, 3 quotation, 4 quotation, or whatever it is, or you did the pro rata rate or whatever it is. Then put the measurement sheet. If this bill of quantities consists of some measurements, block works, omission of block and addition of plasters, and you put that all backups of measurements together with the marked tender drawings and the IFC drawings. And if there is any specification changes, no drawings, only the specification, so cancel this and put the specification. And the contractors, if I am a consultant, I need to see the contractor variation also. So that is a contractor variation, and any other documents if you want to put. So this is the variation document. Guys, be mindful that how best you prepare these documents, you present it to the client, that it will reflect you that your quality of the work. Because people, communication is the most important thing here. Communication in the sense, you don't just go and communicate with the people. You just put on the paper, people can easily understand. That is also kind of a communication. So how best you communicate with them, that is, you can avoid the hassles on your life, on your day-to-day life. So easily, one shot if you can communicate, that is the best way. You don't need to get reject, then your boss will get upset and stuff like that. No. How best you can explain the things on your paper and give it to the client, and client best and happy with that, you don't get rejected on it, and your company also will satisfy with your performance. So how best you communicate, that is an important part. The last part of our explanation here, provisional sum, value engineering, and day works. Day works, provisional sum, as you all know, that as a provisional sum is an amount included in the contract to cover the works or item that are uncertain or not fully defined at the time of the contract formation. This is a very important thing, because how the provisional sum is derived, not defined at the time of the formation of the contract. It allows the flexibility, enable the employer to direct specific work supply items later with the contractor being compensated. I will explain to you that how the provisional sum is comes. Normally the provisional sum, we call it two different types. Defined provisional sum, okay, undefined provisional sum. Undefined provisional sum, what are the provisional sum? What we see on our BOQ is a defined provisional sum. It means you need to build a connection bridge in between the two buildings. You know that you need to build a bridge, but you didn't decide that whether it is a steel bridge or concrete bridge, need to put the chill water AC or split AC or these all things. You didn't decide it yet because you don't have a borehole below that to make the foundation to the bridge, because it already time to tender. So somehow you get the rate per square meter or per linear meters 11,000 dirhams, and you multiply by the length, you put that as a provisional sum. Done. That is a defined provisional because you know that there is a bridge. Undefined in the sense you don't know anything. It is under the ground. You might see the rock or you might see the hollow on the ground. So that is undefined, which is you don't know that. You don't know even how to put the value for that. That is as a contingencies you will keep it on your budget. You will not even give it to the contractor, because contractor, he cannot price it. If you give him to price it, he will put 10 million. Maybe it cost 1,000. That is what you don't pass this risk to the contractor. And also if you put it under the contractor scope, contractor need to price his preliminaries, no? Because okay, he know the bridge he should become there, and he know what is the plant is required, what is the machinery is required under the defined provisional sum. He will put the preliminaries for that. He will put the timeline for that. He will put the program for that. But for the undefined, he cannot put anything. He can't put preliminaries. He can't put the timeline. And if you say, contractor, you need to put everything, even for the undefined, then this fellow will put 10 million and he is only one contractor on board. Then he finished the work with 10,000 during the construction, you lost. So that is what we didn't put this under the risk of contractors. Client keep that risk, because anyway he is going to spend on that. He will do it later. He will define it and he will do it. He will make it defined and he will do it. So defined provisional sum, undefined provisional sum. What we see, it is a defined, because why it is became a provisional sum, because I don't have a clarity. As I mentioned that I need to make a bridge. I don't know steel, concrete. I didn't do the soil investigation. I don't know which pile I need to make, micro piles or bigger piles or whatever it is. You don't know anything. So that is what I put a provisional sum. Let the contractor to come back and say that do all these things, and he will come and say, okay, we will do steel, we will need it a bro hold, and we don't need a pile. We will do shallow foundation. He will come and say later. That is a provisional sum. Administration of the provisional sum. You all know that. If you want that, we will talk if somebody have a question on it. And the day work is very important. I put the day work very lately today, because somebody had a big confusion on the day works. That is what I mentioned it here. It's very important. The day work, if a day work is not included in the contract, this is from FEDIC 2017. This clause shall not apply. First instance, they said if this clause is not there on the contract, if this clause is not there, or if the day work schedule is not there on the contract, you can't talk about the day work. Okay, first thing. Second, for work of minor or incidental nature, or the engineer instruct that a variation shall be executed on day work basis. This is very important. This is what I brought this clause here. Now, what we people do it actually, we do a variation about your work. For example, a client says, demolish this wall. I don't want this wall in the middle. I want to extend the room size. They build it. They made the lintel and everything. A client come and say that, no, demolish this wall. I don't want this wall. So your people go and break the wall. Then you submit to the client, uh, okay, according to the day work rate, non-skilled labor this much, unskilled skilled labor this much. I use the bobcat this much, and we cut away the material by cubic meter this much. And the engineer will review the things, come and say, hang on, Mr. Contractor, did I say to you the variations, this works under the day work basis? Did I give you an instruction to do under the day work basis? I didn't give you it. I said, break this wall. I didn't tell that carry out this work according to clause 13.5 day work. I didn't tell you. Because this fellow in the consultant, he know that rate on the day work is very high. Instead of 22 dirham skill labor, your day work is mentioned 50 dirham. Definitely he will not instruct. That is what he didn't instruct you. He said that carry out the breaking work. That's it. He didn't say that carry out the breaking work according to the clause 13.5 of the day work. No. So you cannot. Then in that scenario, what you have to do, you have to come with the actual basis. Now you go and investigate the market, 3 quotation get from the labor supply company, or you try to say that he's the labor supply company who's working on the site. I have the rate and prove it, and this engineer will verify it and he will certify it. But unless he instructed carry out this variation according to the day work, you cannot mention the day work there. That is a concern. That is what I brought this clause here. That can be a variation to the contract, but not according to the day works. Value engineering, it is a structured approach. Yes, if you don't have a structured approach to the value engineering, you can't do it, which is aim to enhance the project value by identifying. Okay, aim to enhance the project value. Okay, there is a different meaning, a reduction of the project value, enhance the project value. So enhancing in the sense it can be go more better, but you get the better qualities. It can come down, still you get a better qualities. That is what enhancing means. So value engineering in the sense not only just doing cost reductions here, enhancing the project value. Okay, enhancing in the sense you get better value to the better value to your investments. You give value to your investment. For example, let's say you spend 100,000, it give value to your investments, because somebody buy a Toyota Corolla, let's say for 90,000, okay, and you get uh, for example BMW also this 90,000, which one is high values? Both are same price, but the BMWs give you good values, because BMW is a BMW. Even you hit in the wall, it will not break easily. It's German man. So it give a bit better values here. So that is what it says, enhancing the project value by identifying cost saving opportunities while maintaining the or improving the functionality, okay, quality, performance. It involves analyzing the design, materials and process of the eliminating the unnecessary expenses, optimize resources, okay. So not only the quality of materials, not only about the performance, not only materials and designs, also is optimizing the resources. For example, you plan to do the work with the 20 people. By the construction time, you realize that you can do it with these 5 people, with the different technologies, with the latest technologies. That is optimizing your resources. You are optimizing your resources and ensure the project meets the objective efficiently. So, what efficient you expected at the beginning of the time, that is the same efficient that is still you delivered. But for me, these all are terminologies. For me, I need to keep it in my mind in a practical manner. I don't know which is right for me. Somebody, it might be a wrong thing. When you build a building, okay, now it's your rooftop. Okay, this is your rooftop. In the rooftop, you have a parapet wall around your building. This parapet wall designed by the engineer, my engineer, intelligent guy, he designed by concrete. Okay, but my cost is increased on the project. I need to reduce the cost. Try to find a way to reduce the cost. I identified this fellow. He made huge 2000 linear meter of concrete wall with the let's say 300 millimeter with heavy reinforcement. Then I asked the engineer, why you want to make this concrete wall? Why you want to make a concrete walls here? Then he said, see, uh, Mr. QS, I have a two requirements here. One is I want to keep the chiller here, and the people on the outside they don't want to see the chiller. So the purpose of this parapet wall is one purpose is what? Hiding the equipments on the rooftop. Okay, then what else your problem? Then I want to put the hooks here for the window cleaning system. Okay, so people come and climb here and do the window cleaning. So these two are my purpose, nothing other than that. Then I ask him, okay, Mr. Designer, why don't you make this is on the block work? Okay, with the same height, which your purpose of this chiller is hidden already. Okay, that your purpose, one purpose is gone. And other purpose that you want to put the hook of the window cleaning system, you want to hang something on a concrete because you cannot fix the hanger on the block. So you just put the upselling system, you just put the concrete small foundation here, put the hook here and come back here. Then safety issues is solved and appearance is solved, safety issue is solved, and the block work is done, and you can paint the same on the concrete as it is. Durability is, I don't think that almost meet, and everything is meet here. Durability is meet, aesthetical view is meet, safety issue is meet, and efficient is, everything is clear here. Then what else? Now you change it. It is a value engineering for me. This is how I kept in mind. Remind. I mean, if something wrong, you can even pinpoint to me that it is wrong. But this is how I keeping in my mind. So that is a value engineering. So now why I put this value engineering under here in 2017 FIDIC Red Book. Value engineering also is a key part under the variation they added here. You know that how to handle the variation under the FIDIC 99 and 2017. If somebody need to know that, you can ask me directly how we gonna do that. So that is the end of the theory session now. And anybody is interested to have questions, we can have a question. Half an hour I spare for the question because I felt this session is mostly a question and answer rather than theoretical part. But I give you an example of all this stuff. Now is floor for you. Ask the questions. How far you understood the case? How far you guys understand the variations, and did this explanation is help you guys? Did you get any get away from after this session, or still you need to understand?
Was good. Thank you.
Hamza, after a long
Yeah.
time.
uh, Thank you. It's a good session, Teli. I just have a question. Actually, regarding this variation and day works, what are the different? Just can you elaborate more about this?
Somebody put the
Variation versus
question. Yeah, Hamza. Yeah. Variation. Please share the slides. Okay. Variation and the day works. Day works is not a variation first. Day works is a day works. But we, after the day works, analyzing the day works, we get the value of the day works, it paid as a variation under the variation category. But day works is totally different than the variations. You know, if you variation is exactly the same that you read the five, I will open that on the slides. Variation in the sense in FIDIC 1987, this is the variations. So when you say day works, you go and checklist with these clauses. Okay, that day works, increase or decrease of the quantities, you find it out. Okay, if it is increase or decrease of the quantities, that will not go as a day works, that will come as a increase or decrease of the quantities. omit any work, you just go and check with that your day works that you instructed, it will not fit here. It is changing character of qualities, it will not fit here. Changes of levels lines, it will not fit here. Additional work, any kind of necessary completion, it will not fit here. Maybe it will fit here, then you come and bring it, do it here. Any changes sequence, it will not fit here. That is a day works. But if you go to the day works clause in the contract, at the end of the day work, they will say that it will pay as a variations. Okay, because if you go to a session from Dr. Sham on the sound contract administrations, he thought about the variations, and also he said varied works. Every clauses in the FIDIC, if you go some places, they will say this will value according to the clause 51.1, something like that. So at the end, that will be considered as a changes to the works. But it is as a definition of the variation, it will not cover under this variation. That is a additional work to that, but that will not come under this variations. That is how. There is variation works and the varied works. So these two are two different scenarios. Both are get paid, but that variations are paid under here. Varied works are also will paid, but not that will be valued under that. How we will value it, but that is not under the that's not fallen under this variation clauses. I think Amsa, I hope it's clear.
Yeah, clear. Yeah.
Okay, Assalamu.
Yes.
Yeah, I will tell one thing here. So this session was starting for the question and answer only. So anyhow, we have completed the theory class for 1.5 hours. So everyone need to speak out here because we came here for the question and answer only, the main purpose.
Yeah, and even you can ask in even Tamil as well. I mean, no problem. We'll manage, because I see that somebody is lacking to ask the questions, and because of the language problem. I mean, no problem. Even any language you can ask, because you can explain the question better in Tamil. It's okay. It's welcome to ask in Tamil. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. First, I will complete my question here. Yeah. For example, recently, so in my project, so when the conductor starting to do the excavation for the foundation of the pole, the street lighting pole, they have found out the cable for ADDC. So in that same time, so the conductor has instructed to the engineer. So after that, they didn't get any confirmation, for example, so whether they go for the tree location of the cable, or they're going for the to the foundation in other the corridor or something. But if the contractor, if they completed the work, for example, the relocation of the cable without informing the engineer, without confirmation from the engineer, so then they can eligible go for the variation. They can climb on this one.
No. So they notify to the contractor, they identify, they recognize the variations, first point. Then what they have to do after the recognition, then the engineer has to come back and say, okay, give me the impact. Then with that impact, then he has to go to the client and say that, okay, this is an impact. Then as we studied on the change management procedures, then he need to instruct officially. He need to give you an instruction. Okay, carry on based on this clause 51.1, 13.1.0 something, whatever it is. Then only you need to start do the works. Okay, now if I am a contractor, what I will do? First I identify the things. Now there is a norms in the UAE. Whenever you identify the cables, whether this is a dead cable or live cable, you need to go back and inform to the ADDC. Okay, but that is the reason that ADDC did not allow to do these things with other contractors. They asked to appoint the guy who is authorized to do this work. Even you do a street light poles excavations, then normally they don't allow the guys who don't register with them. Under registered with them only who can do this job. So what they will do, they will identify that there is a cables. They will notify to the engineer. Same time they will notify to the ADDC. That is their duty. Okay. Then ADDC will come and say that, okay, remove these cables. So when ADDC given the instruction to remove the cables, then he need to go back to the engineer. Engineer will say that, Mr. Engineer, I have a request from ADDC to remove the cables. Now I'm going to remove the cables. So it can be a variation. It may impact the time and cost. I need your instruction. So engineer should come and say that, okay, go ahead, according to this clause, we'll pay your variation. If engineer is keeping quiet, didn't instruct you, and the client is also keeping quiet, you keep quiet. Don't do the works. I will not do the works. Unless he comes, I will do the works. I will do some other works. On the site, I have many other works. When if the project is delayed, it is engineer delayed. It's not my delay. If it is a diplomatic contractor. Without doing that, you carry on the work and you submit the variation. The engineer will say, no, I didn't instruct you. I don't.
First, bro, your sound is mute. Can you unmute this one? Yeah, it's still on mute.
Now, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So that is a case. Could you please? Okay. So that is a case. So unless you get the instruction from the engineer, or unless you get the instruction from the contracting parties, the engineer or the client, you don't carry out the works. If you carry out the works, if you don't get, you won't get paid. So that is an important thing, because in these cases, maybe the engineer will come and say, no, I have a plan to do a straight line on a different line. Why, why you did it here? So instruction is an important thing in the variation. That is what on my format templates, I show you that instruction is important. So that is what the change management procedure is in place. Whenever you start the work, when you take part of the works, you need to first you need to establish a change management procedure in the project. You go there and check it. There is no procedures. You establish the procedures. You establish it and go to the the client, and go to the contractors and agree on them. At least get the sign on the paper and keep it. And it will be very efficient for you to administrate the thing. If you are a contract administrator or the commercial manager on the project, it is a very important thing that it is like it will smoothen your process. Once, 2, 3 times they did it, started working on the same process, and it will be smooth and it will be more efficient. So that now I realize that in this contractor submit the variation without the instruction is lack of change management procedures awareness on this. That is the case. Practically,
First, bro, I have a doubt.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We have one chiller on roof or generator. Okay. In BOQ, it's a lump sum project. In BOQ, there is no floating slab for the item. Okay. So it's mentioned only chiller or generator. So the contractor not included their tendering time, the floating slab price, or they didn't put the additional item. Now the engineer instructing to fix the chiller or generator. So it should be with floating slab. So the contractor asking to it's not included in our project, in our pricing. So they can asking for the client for through the variation for this item.
Anasir, you are a consultant, huh? You are a consultant.
Yeah, I'm asking the contractor asking.
You are consultant. You are working in consultant. Your company. You mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you. That is what I said. The best place to reduce the dispute is the pre-contract stage. Avoiding variations and making changes. The first mistake is here. The designer who did the design of this slab, he made a blunder here. He don't know he know that maybe that is a chiller. He should have to mention the design for the concrete as a floating slab. He didn't mention it. Okay, that is the first mistake. Second mistake is the guy who made the estimation of the project. So during the estimation, he know that there is a chiller, because chiller is a huge item. It costs 7-8 million. So definitely he should know that where is a chiller, what is a chiller, and where it is fixing. He should have to aware about it. Okay. Then he should know that this chiller is fixed on the slab. It won't be possible. It's not possible to fix just on the slab. There is a floating slab is required for this. So if I am a genius estimator or the technical guy who read the tender documents, I would have to raise the question to the engineer, Mr. Engineer, you stupid, you didn't put the floating slab on the chiller. How come it is possible? Then he will say, oh, okay, it is my mistake. You have to add the floating slab. Now, this all stages is past, and now we are in a construction. Now contractor cannot say that, no, it's not in your tender document, it's not in your specifications to put the floating slab. I will not fix it. If I fix it, I need a variation for the floating slab, because you are a contractor, you are an experienced contractor, you take the tender document and kept with you for 1 month and study, finally you come up with this price. I thought that you give a space to fix the chiller. Now you come and say, I cannot fix the chiller, so where are you going to fix it? You have to fix it, the chiller. And my building has to have safety. If my building is started vibrating after you fix the chiller, definitely the building will collapse. You're going to spend another 100 million instead of you spending 20,000 on the slab. So the issue is here, contractor cannot say that I cannot spend the chiller. It is the floating slab. It is a variation. It is his mistake. First, he didn't raise the question during the tender query that there is no, because he went through the documents. He agreed that I can fix the chiller. So where he can fix the chiller? The specification of the chiller definitely would say that my chiller has to be fixed on the floating slab, because that will not mention on the structural specification or structural drawing, because that floating slab things will be mentioned on the mechanical specification. So the problem is here, the guy who is doing an estimation, maybe he will not have mechanical ideas, so he don't know how to read the mechanical specification. So that is how he didn't consider it. If that mentioned on the civil specification or civil drawing, he would have to capture it, but he missed it actually. That is his mistake. Contractor cannot say that I cannot do it. It is his responsibility to provide the floating slab with on his cost. No variation to it.
Is this same answer applicable? You told one example for the beam, the additional bar. It's normally, if not provide the additional bar, it will become bending. So bending issue. So
Yes.
so it will applicable to for that one also. The
There is two
contractor.
scenarios. One is some contract would say that, okay, engineer is the designer, okay, but some contract will say that contractor need to verify the designs. Okay, during the verifications, sometime they will say that verifications and adding the things on an adding bar or changing thickness also, sometimes they give it to the contractor responsibility. In that scenarios, there won't be a variations. But if the engineer design pure traditional contract, if engineer design contractor just to do the work, doing the shop drawing and doing the work, yes, it is contractor, it is a variation. They will pay the variation, because I give you the design, but I give you this bar. I'm not responsibility as a contractor and contractor estimator and contractor technical team. I don't have ability to change your design, because your design is already went through the municipality approvals, third party approval and all the process, and it came to me. But your building capabilities, the building strength and the errors on the design, which covered under the uh, contractors consultant insurance. What do you call that? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Professional indemnity insurance, which is professional indemnity insurance is for what? The performance of the consultant and their errors, design errors and stuff like that. So this is one of the error. When he missed the bar, this is error, the designer error. So that contractor will not take the responsibility for that. But for the chiller, I said fix the chiller. I'm not going to give you the design, because fixing the chiller is your responsibility. At the end, they will do the floating slab design is not done by the structural designer of the consultant, because the design is given by the chiller suppliers. They will tell that what is the floating thickness and what is the vibrant decibel accepted. These all will come with the chiller package. That contractor has to design, not by the contractor, consultant design responsibility here. Akshay is clear.
Yeah, clear. It's okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Marshad. Can I ask the related to work question for the variation?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I received the site instruction number 2 from client to the through consultant. So they mentioned civilian in MEP, all the finishing in the MEP, all suspended until further instruction. And they asked for the cost for the omission cost. The cases now I have the MEP due to working, the design changes, it's some rate increase. So what can I mention?
Can I, if you don't mind, can I ask you the question again? I get suspension and I get as a omission also. It's get confusing me.
No,
You
it's
can ask in Tamil also, no problem.
yeah,
It's okay.
okay.
That's it.
The whole suspended work until further instruction from client.
Okay, they suspended the work.
Yes.
Okay, according to the contract, they suspend the work. They will issue the suspend order according to the condition of contract.
Yes.
Okay. Because when you use the language, we have to be careful. Suspension is next part of the termination. You know that. Maybe you don't have money, you have some problems, and you suspend the work first. And then you're going to terminate the work. So you have to be careful that it is a suspension or it's a holding thing.
No, suspended until
Suspended.
the new
Okay.
design changes.
What he suspended the work because of the design changes.
Yes.
Because
the client
basically he
will
want
be
you to slow down the works.
yeah.
Okay.
So the cases, the civil rate and quantity, it's okay, prepared. But the MEP, they are still not submit subcontractor.
Okay.
So
Sure.
yeah, 1 minute. Will still not submit, but the second letter I will receive the delay of the work. They will ask for the question. So what I will reply to MEP subcontractor, they still not submit the cost from MEP.
Okay. So now your client, your consultant is asking, give the cost for the suspension.
The civil it's ready, but I
Yeah, why
combine
is
to
asking the cost for the suspension? What cost you for the suspension because of the suspension?
the example this the scope of work basement 2 and basement 2 plus until ground floor 2 until roof they have finishes changes. So civil it's ready. So we give
So
the
the
MEP part.
finishes changes, they change the finishing. You have done the changes also. You have you done
No,
the changes as per their requirements.
we didn't do the finishing. We going to the
Okay.
structure going.
So they changes and before they start the work, they are asking the cost.
Yeah, because they will
Okay.
because the client is government, so they will do the finishing, the luxury finishing. So we already, as per the BOK, it's some item, it's a lump sum. So I can use the pro rate for it's okay, fine, the civil. But the issue the same we can give the sub for MEP.
You cannot go and tell the client or the consultant. See, my MEP subcontractor is delaying the works because according to the contract, you as a main contractor and client have a contract. Okay, if I am a client, my point of view, you are the contractor. MEP, civil, electrical, everything you have to do it. I didn't tell you to nominate this contractor on the site. If I nominate, this is my baby. I will take care about. I will go him and tell him that submit immediately. Mr. Main Contractor is waiting for this. But now this subcontractor is appointed by yourself, your contractor. That is your baby. It's your domestic contractor. Now, if you, a contractor, a project manager, if I am a client or consultant, you come and say that my contractor didn't do the subcontractor didn't give me the variation documents. I cannot give you. I'm just waiting for him. I will tell you who is he. I don't sign the contract with him. Okay. So it comes from you. If you don't give it to you, you prepare yourself. You bring some other people. Bring MEP company, MEP QSS from your side. You do yourself and bring it to me. This is what I would say that. If a client because I didn't sign the contract with him, your MEP company. I didn't tell you that go to this company to do the MEP work. So I don't have any direct contractual relationship with him. So you cannot point me that he is not giving the things. I will see it as it's your things. It's your responsibility to get it done with it. You have to give it. If it is the delayed, if the work is delayed, the delay will fall under you. Then what you have to do, you have to back charge it to your MEP company. Then once you started back charging him, then you can share your risk to him. You get away from that. Put the risk on under his head. That's all. If the client is going to be ask a delay penalty for you, you send a letter to the MEP company. See, my delay penalty is per day is 50,000 dirhams or real or whatever it is. The same penalty I'm going to apply to you if you delay. Then you will get ready. That is how, as a contract administrator, you have to play a diplomatic game here. You get the point, Arshad? But don't expect anything from client or consultant. They will excuse you for this matter. And if it is the government client, yes, I'm sure. Hope you understand.
Okay, bro. I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
For the additional scope, which means it is also variation. There is anything. It will impact on the time also. We have to climb EOT. So we can submit variation for the cost variation and EOT same together, or it's a different process.
Many people have a confusion on this matter actually. No, when you say variations, when you go to the close of the contract, it is mentioned the time impact as well. But you see that there are, which is not mentioned under the FIDIC, there are different procedures. We call it a prolongation cost. Okay, which is fallen under the claims clause of the contract. The prolongation cost. So what is this prolongation cost? Is a time. Whenever you extend the time. So for example, the project is extended by 60 days. Okay. So that 60 days, you are going to claim the cost for that because your temporary work is impact here. Temporary charges is impact here. You need to claim that 60 days here. But do you know that how the 60 days is came from here? That 60 days is fragmented from various items. For example, there is a delay of engineer in approval of the shop drawing 10 days. Okay. Engineer approval, shop drawing delays. And there is a delay from your side, which is you didn't deliver the material because you did the late procurement 5 days from your side. For example, I'm telling. Then there is another delay of client not confirming the material submittals. That is another 15 days. These all are put together, okay, and they take the concurrent delays. They take the balance days and they took how much the days, ultimately the extension of the project. Then the shop drawing delay, the contractor is entitled for the time. And some delays the contract, because if you have to go back to the close, for example, some delays is extended, some delays are given with the time and cost impact, some delays are given time only, some delays are given cost only, some are given cost only, cost is a variation, some are given time only, some are given cost only, some given time and cost together. So you have to separate it that from there and understand that how many duration, how much duration time and cost, how much duration time only, how much duration cost only. Then this all calculation to be done during the prolongation only, prolongation cost time only, prolongation claim. During the variation, don't mess it up. If you mess it up, that variation will not get approved actually. That is what practically everyone say, that don't mess the time and time claim, time cost claim, and the variation together. Put the variation first because you want to make your cash flow on fast track. Because by the time you will not finish the time extension or whatever it is, because you have a delay from there, you have delay from here, and if you want to put together on all, by the time it will not happen. So if you submit the variation cost, that you get paid. Once it is approved, you get paid. So your cash flow will be on flow. So that is what in the practical they said submit the variation, time cost related to the time claim, prolongation cost we will do it separately. So that is better to do it separately, but there is no norms that you do separately or you do together. But in best practice that you do separately is much appropriate. Rizwan.
Yeah, Vasco. Thank you for the session, actually. I have a question from the recent variation order received from client side. We have ordered to the contractor as a whole a civil package, with including the interior fit out and everything. And laterly, we decided to omit the door items, including some other windows also. To give it to other. But during that time, the nominated subcontractor was not decided. So the contractor was doing the plastering work, and sufficiently he finished the plastering. But normally, better like in the door bending in the facing area. If the contractor want to do the door, he no need to plaster that particular area because if the subframe and the architect will come and will cover. Normally, contractor will not do that the small area. The beating of the door and the facing areas. But in this case, there was no nominated subcontractor at that time, so there's no proper coordination between the new contractor and the civil contractor. So they finish the plastering of that particular area and complete all. It is all around 1,208 or something doors. A huge amount. So laterly, when the nominated subcontractor come, he finished the work. Now the contractor asking the variation amount for that particular plaster work. But as per the contract, all the plaster works are including into his contract. But in this.
Can I repeat the question again in short form? Rizwan, can you repeat the question in short form? Because sometimes your voice is breaking also.
Hello.
Yeah.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, I think you stay one
in this
place.
case, they have asked to the client to do. Hello, is clear now?
Yeah, now clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in this case, consultant suggested they made eligible for the variation, but from the client side, still we are discussing whether they have.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you what
yes.
exactly the case again? Can you repeat if you don't mind?
Actually, we omitted the door scope from the contractor.
Okay, you omitted the door from the contractor scope. What is the reason
contractor, that? Yeah. So the reason that we we want to go with one nominated subcontractor, and we feel that the price of the door they quoted is very high.
Okay.
And the owner decided to go with one nominated subcontractor, which he was doing.
So, but the nominated subcontractor, but this nominated subcontractor was mentioned in the contract?
Not mentioned in the contract previously. During the construction only, we decided to omit the.
So he's not a nominated contractor. He is the subcontractor of the client. So you cannot say he's a nominated contractor.
Okay, subcontractor.
Nominated means you need to put it under the contract, under the tender documents that he's the one I'm going to nominate for the door. So now you bring a subcontractor.
Subcontractor to do the work.
So which is against the contract.
Yes, but it is agreed by the contractor.
Okay, contractor is agreed.
Agreed to omit the scope with the mutual
agreed to omit the door.
We omitted. Yes.
Okay, good.
With the mutual understand only we omitted.
Okay.
During that time, the contractor was not coordinated with the client contractor, and they have finished all the plaster work, including the bend and the face of the doors area.
So you mean the subframe? They had a subframe, and
subframe area. Yes.
So he fit who put the subframe? The main contractor.
The
and
main
he
contractor.
plaster it. Hmm.
Yeah. No, he plaster it. He put the subframe and he plaster it.
Who? The main contractor.
Yeah, the main contractor.
Okay, go ahead.
So now he was claiming for the plaster area, that extra plaster area that he's claiming that is extra for us, because if we do that door, we don't need to put that plaster area, the plaster for that area. So if we are giving to other contractor, we may claim that. So without any proper coordination, he did he didn't inform us before to do that. So in this
But
case,
anyway, in the
in
lump
which
sum
basis we
contract, this plaster is part of his scope of work now.
yeah, of course, it's part of his.
Yeah, then he's doing it under his price, and the quantity is mentioned. Then why is a variation here?
The quantity is a fixed contract. The quantity is fixed mentioned already.
Yeah, the quantity, for example, in your BOQ have, let's say, the quantity of 5,000 square meter. That 5,000 square meter is under his lump sum contract. He will do it without asking anything.
Yes, he could do that, but the consultant also suggested he may eligible for this. So I couldn't understand in which basis it will go.
No, actually, at the beginning, he is supposed to fix the door. Okay. So whatever the plaster related to in this door area, he would have to price it on his BOQ under the lump sum contract.
It is already priced.
Then he did this plaster. He did himself this plaster work also. So
But,
why is the dispute here? What is the variation here?
Actually, there's no dispute, but the consultant is suggesting if the contractor has to do this door work, he no need to do the plaster in that area.
No. Actually, you know what happened? Here, I don't know why he have whiteboard here. Anyway, when the face of the the subframe is not supposed to plaster actually. So when you say that no need to, you will not fix the door, someone else fix the door, he come and he plastered this faces. This face is not supposed to plaster actually. This face is just fix the plywood and screw it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, definitely you have to pay as a variation to the contract. Client cannot say that. How? If you see, we need to be very careful if you are working with a consultant, whether or not, if the client is a gentleman or whoever it is, he's a layman. You are the one as a consultant, is an advisor. You have to take a charge and you have to explain to the client. Sometimes client don't understand. So you have to take charge, explain to the client, Mr. Client, this is his additional cost. He cannot pay from his pocket. He's going to lose the project. Maybe he will not do another project. He will close the company because of you. Then you don't want to take this blame. You have to pay for him. Then even I stand sometime. Even I fight with some clients and I would say no, I cannot accept it. It is a variation to him. If you let him, you don't open the story that you will fix the door. If he will do it, he will fix the subframe and he will plaster it. By the time after he fixes the subframe, you instructed the door, I will bring it. Then no problem for him. He will not ask you anything. He will only ask subframe also. It is as per the contract. You only just omit the main frame and the door leaves. Gone. But now you confuse him. You made an instruction in the wrong time. So you need to pay for it.
Actually, I am the client side.
Yeah, I'm telling everybody, even the client or consultant or whoever it is, you have to pay for them.
But there's a point that in case we can say because in that case area, he might not need to plaster. He could ask the consultant or the client that I will leave this area for your.
Yeah, that is the one thing. By the time he is plastering for a long time, then why the supervision consultant, he was just looking it? He don't know that he is plastering the wrong place. He spent his material, no? Because you go to the court at the end, court will say, Mr. Client, he spent the material, he spent the labor, he spent the cement and everything. Then you was looking for it, and after he done everything, you say, no, I will not pay. It is not faith. It is under good faith and fair deals. It's not happening. It's not a good faith. So if the cases go to court, definitely court will throw the papers on the client face. That's it.
So he may be eligible.
Yeah, he's eligible because, I don't know in other countries, in UAE law is, if somebody is put their resources and do something under the good faith, You know that good faith. Good faith is not in our country. Mostly in Arab countries are there. They spend something. If fairly know everybody, then it has to be paid. You know, we all, that is what I said. We all have to follow the ethics. There should be ethics. If you are a practitioner, QS, you need to follow the ethics. Whether you, regardless of client or consultant or contractor, you have to be on same line. Don't change your tongue like our people in back home.
Here in the Saudi recently, one case, the same. It was closed with the good faith and
Yes. Yeah, it's in all Arab
yeah.
countries we have these laws actually. Sulaiman Lebey Muhammad have so many.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam salam.
Yeah, Abdullah here. I,
Yes, Abdullah.
I want to ask a question regarding the variation.
Yes, Abdullah.
Yeah. For the enabling work contract, after
Okay.
both parties sign, so when we execute the work for the excavation, so there are changes in the soil improvement level. So therefore,
Soil level.
Yes. Soil improvement level changed by the consultant. So in the BOQ, the excavation quantity is 3,100, and the contractor price is a rate 60 dirham per meter.
Okay.
So these already both party agreed, and when the contractor execute the work, we change the soil improvement level. So therefore, we instruct the variation. So here, when we finalize the variation, so we need to take quantity as per the tender drawing and revised drawing. So when we calculate the tender drawing, the actual quantity is 3,500. So here, my first question, the rate is rate we can change based on the actual quantity or not?
Rate we can change based on the actual quantities.
Yeah, because their quantity calculation is wrong. So
it is a lump sum contract, not the remeasured or provisional.
Yes. It's a lump sum contract based on FIDIC 87.
87.
Yeah.
It is a lump sum contract. Then why we need to change the rate here? Rate is because of the level change of soil improvement.
Actually, normally for the excavation rate, we know it will be from 18 dirham to maximum 25. Actually, contractor price here very high, but the client also not noticed. They didn't notice that. Both party agreed. So the excavation rate itself 60 dirham per meter cube. So the quantity in the BOQ 3,100 is actually wrong. So when we recalculate from the tender drawing, we found that the quantity will be around 3,500. So the amount for the excavation around 220,000. So we can this 220,000 we can divide by the actual quantity. It will come around 35 dirham per meter cube. So for the variation, when we evaluate the variation, we can apply this rate 33 dirham because the BOQ quantity, we know that it is approximate quantity, not the actual. So when we go for the variation, when we recalculate, if we found that if any error in the quantity, we can change the rate or not.
You can't change the rate actually. Because the rate.
Rate is fixed, but the quantity is wrong. So
now, regardless of, because when normally, I'll tell you the story here. When we do work, no, I don't want to take that example. Anyway,
if we instruct the variation, we have to calculate the quantity.
Actual quantities on the, because it is a lump sum contract. You take the quantities from your tender drawings and you take the new quantities from your IFC drawings.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
So when we recalculate the quantity, that time if we find the quantity is error, so the amount will be same because it's a lump sum
contract. Yes.
So the amount will be 220, for example, 20,000 to execute this excavation work. But their quantity, if the quantity is wrong, the amount will be same, but the rate we can change it.
But that rate at that position only you can use, but you cannot take that rate to apply for another case. You get my point.
Yeah.
Because now you cannot take that rate for an
So
additional, for example, another excavation is doing it.
so we ask the contractor to provide a breakdown. So
Yes.
simply they provide the excavation work scope, and they add some, the supporting storing some due to the excavation. And the contractor told that I add the risk factor in this rate very high.
Okay, tell me what is the risk? What
Yeah,
risk?
that is the
He
thing.
can list
Yeah,
out the risk now if he has original risk.
yeah. So now I receive one instruction from the client. You can go with new rate because this rate is very high. That is also, from my side, because it's a lump sum contract. No, can we ask again, because the quantity increase, because in the BOQ quantity 2,300. Now due to this level, the quantity increased by 20,000 meter cube. So there is a huge, this is a huge variation. So therefore the client, they are asking, for example, as an engineer, why you cannot go with new rate. You can ask free quotation as per the market rate, and you can finalize the variation.
See,
So
that is one talk in the industries, that if you feel that the rate is totally exaggerated, which is not applicable, which is you can ask for a 3 quotations
yeah,
as
yeah,
a
exactly.
best practice. But if the rate is minor different with a small difference like 10 percentage, 20 percentage, 15 percentage, it doesn't need to waste the time on that. But if it is a huge impact, yes, you can ask for a new rate. And if the contractor is agreed to give a new rate, it's fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Somebody was there, Sulaiman? Muhammad, is it?
Yeah,
Somebody raised
Assalamu
their
alaikum.
hand. Okay.
Yeah, I have one question that, under prelims, there are various categories of items are there. In that, we have been received one variation for the prelims, which are related to the method related charges. Could you
So this
please,
is a system
sorry, method related,
infrastructure. Is it infrastructure or?
no, it's a building project.
Okay. So why they are asking method related variation on the building project? What did the
Actually,
method?
like, the design, the cost of design.
Okay, cost of design under preliminaries.
Yeah.
What is
The
the design and
BOQ,
build contract?
yes, a design and build contract.
Okay.
The BOQ is like that only.
So the design part they put under preliminaries.
Yeah, prelims.
Okay, which is wrong concept. Okay.
So now they are asking a variation, but however, in our contract, there is a certain clauses are there up to 5% of the build-up area, either increase or decrease, nobody cannot claim a variation. So now the area which got, the build-up area which got increased to 8%. So in that case, the contractor is claiming the variation. So can you accept that in pro rata basis?
So the preliminaries, under the preliminaries, the design fees is there. Now the build-up area of the design is increased by 8%.
Yeah.
Okay. So the contract is says what? 5%?
Up to plus or minus 5%, nobody, either contractor or client, cannot claim a variation.
Okay, then it is 8%. It is straightforward.
Yeah.
There can be a variation because now you give a huge area to him for the design. Definitely he need to spend his resources, no?
Variation. So can we consider the pro rata basis?
Yes, possible. But it is
Possible.
depend on the scenarios, because now before you said building a design, design a building.
Yeah.
Now you said that at the hospital mean that hospital design and the building design is totally different. You cannot take the pro rate from the building design. You
No,
get my
I'm
point.
talking about the existing. For an example, 6,000 square meter, they have been given 1 million for the design cost. So in our case, the 6,000 is 1 million can be
Same
divided by
building, same concept is
same
extending.
building.
Okay,
Yes,
then
yes,
pro rata is fine.
fine, right?
Yes.
Okay, and one more thing that we are facing one issue at this moment. there is one BOQ in that under prelims they didn't specify supervision site supervision team cost, but they have mentioned during the tender it's included in their cost. So now the project duration which got extended for 3 months, but the issue is that during the contract period, during the construction period, we have been requested the contractor to halt the work, to suspend the work for 2 months because of some local rules we call civil defense some issue. In that during that period, the contractor he didn't halt the work completely, but he was sending their team like 1 or 2% for the rectification and attending of the defects. So later, when the contract, I mean, when the work is resumed, so they completed the project as well. So there is some what to say the project extension. So now the contractor has submitted the claims on prolongation, which is that the methodology what they followed, what they considered. For an example, our contract value is 30 million. Mean they have been divided this 30 million by the duration. For an example, the duration we agreed that 6 months.
No,
So
normally that is the things people used to do it in the industries, which is wrong actually, because we have a 3 categories on the under the preliminaries now, fixed cost,
yeah,
maintenance cost, and the demobilize. Then the fixed and demobilize is still the same. Nothing is there. Only he has a running cost. So
yes,
if he take the running cost and multiply and divided, makes sense. But it is not right also.
yeah.
But which is not right actually, he need to take exact his expenses. For
That
example,
is issue. Yeah, that is issue. The methodology what he follows, he's taking overall contract value dividing by the number of duration, and he's taking per day per day cost.
no,
Then that per day cost he's multiplying and he's bringing to the big digit number. Can we
that is
accept it?
wrong. You can
That is
straight away reject it there.
yeah. Also, they're adding some interest charges which is not even defined anywhere. They're adding some.
See, there
They're
are
saying
interest charges may applicable if mentioned in the contract. So some places, if the payment delay by the client, sometime contractor ask for interest. Normally the client remove that clause any of the contract. But even though if they give you the interest charges, why you want to? I wanted to pay for you the interest charges. I'm giving you the prolongation cost, which you spend. I'm going to give it to you. I didn't delay
the
here.
argument from the contractor is that if this okay, you delayed my payment. So if the same amount would have been in my account in the bank, I would have been get the interest like that he is arguing.
It's an opportunity cost actually. It is missing opportunity.
Yes.
No, that he has to prove. He cannot keep. He cannot. Okay, fair. If he really lose from that, okay, we will think about it. But first of all, his prolongation cost calculation itself is wrong.
Yeah.
So let him come with that perfect calculation. Then second thing we will think about whether we're going to pay for him the interest or not. Yes, if there is possibilities that maybe the high level may ask you to pay the interest, the opportunity cost, because we delay the project, he might lose the idle resources here. Because by the time he put this, he rented this cabin, site of his cabin, he would have to earn money from somewhere else. Okay, there are possibilities, but it has to be perfectly substantiated, not just like that we can pay
No,
them.
that is the reason we provided all the facility like water, electricity, temporary site of office, everything we provided. But only from their side, the conveyance service for their workmen and their supervision team. This is the only prolongation they can claim.
Okay, so there's nothing in there. No.
In addition to that, they put they put some additional interest charges. Also, the way of calculation, it's say honestly, it's bullshit. Nobody cannot tolerate or accept it. Because their overall prelims cost is just 2% of their contract amount, but now they are claiming it's almost half of the contract amount as a prolongation.
Okay, that's perfect.
So now they are threatening the client. If we are not dealing in a proper way, they may go for arbitration or litigation.
Good. I have one question here. What does it mean to a nominated contractor or subcontractor? Nominated contractor, which is nominated in the contract, they have to nominate it. The under the contract, somewhere it's mentioned he is the nominated contractor to do this particular work. He is the nominated contractor. Subcontractor can be a contractor to any of the people, which is not be part of the contract. Anytime they can come and work as a sub to us as a subcontractor. Reason nominated mean as a client or as a consultant should have to nominate in the contract. Somewhere in the contract it is mentioned. Maybe under the vendor list it mentioned that to do the aluminium work, I'm going to propose a is a aluminium contractor. Something like that. They are nominating. He's a nominated contractor. So that's it. Another one is Arshad. Was there raised the hand here?
One more thing, I have one more question. Could you please brief me how to certify the coordination charges of the main contractor? Is there any limitation?
What is the coordination charge?
Coordination charge means there is one main contractor. Okay, the client is appointing their subcontractor, but they are like nominated by the client. So already one main contractor is there. So the client is nominating some subcontractor for his own free will. So now on board, there are main contractor also there for the main scope and subcontractor also there. So there is one clause coordination charges. So the main contractor is claiming as a variation the coordination charges.
This clause is where? You said one clause. Where is the clause?
I saw in somewhere FIDIC clause.
The contract?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there won't be a clause as a coordination charge clause in the FIDIC, but I will tell you. First of all, when you say nominated contractors, when this should be mentioned in the contract. Okay. Why we mention in the contract? When we say nominated for this particular work, aluminium or wooden work, so the contractors know that what the facilities I need to give it to these contractors. Because when you say wooden company, for example, door supplier, they know that this door supplier need a fabrication store and storage, power and electricity and stuff like that. They will put it under their preliminaries and they will put the time frame in their programs. So this is the coordinations. So, but when you bring someone else up while going on the work, which is not mentioned even in the contract, that you need to pay for the coordination charge. Whatever the bill he give, you need to pay. That's all.
So what is the percentage?
No limitation. No limitation. But as a best practice, it should not reach more than 9%. But it is not a 9%. It's because 9% is including everything, site office, stuff like that, everything. But I don't think that, I mean, there is no limitation, but just based on my experience, I'm just giving it will be in between 5 to 8%.
Yeah. Or the actual, but here in our scenario,
from his contract value,
I saw somewhere, but I couldn't recognize which one exactly.
No,
either
this
GCC,
is nowhere. I'm sure nowhere is mentioned in the contract. This percentage is nowhere will mention in the contract, which is but there might be a clause for the coordinations.
Okay.
Coordination mean which is for the support under the provisional sum. This might be there. They need to provide the support because provisional sum is talk about the nominated subcontractor, no? So it might be there under the provisional sum, but they will not mention about this percentage and stuff. I'm sure 100%.
And we faced the same issue. Like in our contract, there was a condition that it's like 5% of the value, the contractor's value. So finally, it was agreed in the contract, but I don't know how the client agreed that. So finally, we paid.
So 5%.
Yeah, 5%.
Yeah, applies 5 to 8% is might be applicable here. So under the provision, the engineer provision to all contract price adjusts the total contract price shall include such amounts. Contractors operations. Some support has to be given, like attendance. They don't say coordination; they need to provide the attendance. This is how the contract is drafted. No coordination actually.
Actually, sir, the main contractor debate is that, they are working already. So when the client is appointing his nominated subcontractor, so this subcontractor's activity will defect or collapse with the main contractor activity. So in that
is a problem. That is a problem when you bring somebody in the middle and just put them it is It is not right because contractors are finding the opportunity to ask for you the excuse to extend the time or ask for you the cost because contracting is a business.
Yeah.
So it's if I am a contractor, I will do the same thing because it is a business. I will find the way to find the business. That is the reason we shouldn't. If you are intent to bring somebody to put it in the middle, you have to put it in the beginnings. Otherwise, if you brought it, in any case, you find the way to brought him, but you have to administrate them perfectly. You have to draft in a way a contract or amendment to the contract with the contractors that make an amendment that I am going to bring for you this nominated contractor for this work. You will not come back to me for all these problems and get it signed with him. You can make it that. But don't allow the contractors to open them by weakening our side. We have to be from as a contract administrator or as a client, I need to be strong my side. If I open the door to the contractor, then they will come up with so many excuses. That is a business. Even I do the same thing. So that is not advisable to win. Even if my people, if I have an opportunity, because we deal with the one project recently, we know that the kitchen supplier, which brought by the contractor, is not performing well. So for me, I want to kick out him from site. I want to bring someone else. I know that if I brought someone else, the condition will be worsened because the contractor will not support him and there will be a problem. Then the project will get delayed. What we did, we tried to manage with the existing case. That is the best solution for it.
Okay.
Mufaris bro.
Yes.
I'm in conductor side, design and build conductor side, and we did the detailed design based on the concept design we received. Still, the lead designer is there who did the concept design. Yeah, yeah. So usually, detailed design is being reviewed by the lead designer. So it's been reviewed and it's approved. We got all the authority approvals, and when it's come to execution, there's a design error which is functionally required. So in this case, I would say I'm responsible for the design, but it's been reviewed and it's approved. But let's say
reviewed by and approved by the lead designer.
Lead designer and authority approval. So we have, let's say, in this case, as a design and build contractor, I'm the responsible for design, but I would say it's been reviewed by client representatives. So I need a variation for the requirement. So will it be
the problem is when you say lead designer, we deal also with so many cases nowadays now. When you say lead designer, he's a lead designer, okay? He don't take a responsibility for the design. He just a blue collar guy, the blue collar people always in the industries. They come and they just review a design and they go. And they don't take the responsibility of the design. Who's taking the responsibility of the design? The perfect designer who involved from the concept to the detailed design. They are the one, in summary, you can see who is giving the professional intermediary to this project, the design and build contractor. Lead designer never give a professional intermediary insurance to the client when he is reviewing it. He's the guy, he just come and say, okay, remove this, remove that, and put this, put here, and he goes that. He's not checking that inside how many bar is there and what is the load bearing requirements or what is the soil improvements. He don't do that. The lead designer is just a concept, pre-concept. They just see the lines, okay, then they just see the perspectives. Inside the detailed design is part of the design and build contractor. If that is a changes, performance errors here, the design and build contractor is responsibility. Authority is review it. Yes, they will not take responsibility. That is a mistake. If authority has a third party, normally in Dubai, authority has a third party. Authority itself, they will review it and they will give it to the third party itself. And third party is really checking all this with their softwares. They are finding the mistakes. Yes. In our previous project, they find the mistake and they advise us to change it. But if passed from the authority also, we cannot blame authorities. You didn't review perfectly. That is our mistake still. That is a performance error, our mistakes. If there is additional cost because of this redesigning, we have to bear it. As I am a design and build contractor. This makes sense.
Yeah, it's clear. But if it is, let's say, if it is not functionally required, then how can it be done?
If it is not functionally required, the changes is based on the aesthetical or perspective things. If it is perspective issues and aesthetical problems, changing on the elevations, changing on the main concept of the room layout, stuff like that, yes, you put it on the lead guy and tell you that this is your problem. You give a line, is nonsense lines. This line is changed now.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask one question? So it might be a basic question, but someone can learn it from here. So, for example, when we prepare the new rate, so how we can derive that new rate? So someone need to learn about this one. So if we can brief, so with shortly, so it will be helpful.
Richard,
For
what?
some.
Again.
No, when we prepare the new rate, when we derive the new rate, so what are the things need to be considered, and can you explain the thing?
So it's a building up a new rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, building up a new rates. Basically, three main things everybody knows that. When you build up a rate, you need to have a plant, you need to have materials. Let's assume that you're going to install the chiller. Okay. We are going to install the chiller. Supply, installation, testing and commissioning of chiller. There is a complicated item. So you need to have a plant. You need to have equipments. Plant and equipment, sorry, and materials and labor. Okay. Now the labor, you know that who is going to install the chiller. Then the material, you know that it is a chiller and maybe associate items, ducts, insulations, and some stuff like that. The plant is a machineries. The machineries that use to install the chiller. Maybe you have a hammer, screw it, and crane to lift it and position it, and so many equipments you will use it. So many contractors equipments you will use it. So main item is covered. This is the main items that normally we start to use the build up rates. Additionally, you have to see the risk on these items. Okay. So this is the fourth item I'm talking, the risk. So risk is one item. What is the risk while we shifting this crane here? There are so many risks. First of all, you cannot bring the things, what do you call that, materials by the, what do you call, the truck to the city all the times. You need to have a defined time for that, because the city will not allow the trucks always to come. That is one risk. While you lifting it, maybe the cable may break it and it will fall down. That is a risk. Okay. And you will identify all the risk. You will register the risk here. And some risk you can eliminate it. You know that falling down, then you cannot bring, and so you will tighten, you will put the big cables and stuff like that. You can eliminate some risk. Some risk you cannot eliminate. You have to price it, that risk. So that risk has to be priced also. How? You register the risk, no? Then you eliminate some risk. Then some risk you share it to the insurance company. You will have insurance. You share it to the insurance company. Some risk you will price it. For example, okay, the crane can the truck cannot come now. Truck come later. The truck coming in the night time, he is charging 1,500 per trip. The one who is coming in the middle in the afternoon is charging 500. But I need to go to the 1,500 because you cannot bring the material in the afternoon time. So that is, you need to price it, that risk. So that is a risk items. And the third thing is any contingencies. Okay, you consider as a risk also as a contingencies. And the other 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth item is any other things. What do you call that? It's not, might not be here. Everything is covered under the risk. So mainly plant, the contractor's equipments, materials, on your labors. Then any risk related to these items. Maybe a special requirements from the client. maybe you will go to the general requirement of your project. You will find it, for example, when they say when you are applying the paint, they will ask you to special precautions. For example, they might tell you that this paint is during the application, it's not which is not visible to the dust area. So you have to protect that areas fully with the gypsum board. Then you have to paint it. For example, that is an additional item for the painting rates, isn't it? So that it is depend on the item actually. That has to be covered here as well. So this is not uh, applies to all in the uniform levels. For example, plant, the contractor's equipment, materials, labors are standard for everything. Additionally, that you need to look every items based on the specifications. You know that based on the specification. So that depends on vary. Then you know that how to price the labors, how many hours to install it takes. Then you know you go back to your HR department. You need that how many hours per hours, how much we are spending on these labors, how many skilled labors, how many unskilled labors. You take the rate from HR department, you price it here for the labors. And the plant and equipments, usually you are hiring it. For example, the crane you are hiring it. Hourly you are hiring it. So you go to your store and take the rate from the store manager that how much you are paying for the cranes. Then you come back here and you see how many hours needed, because you go and check with the mechanical engineer that how many hours we needed for this crane to stay here. So then you took the hours and multiply and take the rate for the cranes. And the materials, you know how much for the chiller price. So that's how you build up the rate. It is not only your works, it's depend on many people's technical, store, HR and accounts, finance, because sometimes you need to add some percentage of interest charges because of the client is normally late paying on my payments. So I need to put at least 2% interest charges, something like that. These all are collaborative works, because when you take the tender, normally the management will analyze the project client. Who is the client? Is the paymaster, or he is delaying the payment every time 2 month, 3 month. So you cannot lose the project. You need to take even is the 3 month delaying. So that 3 month, what you have to do, you have to put it somewhere on your rate to cover up that. Somehow it works. So it's depend on the scenarios, but basically equipments, materials, plants, equipments, labor, material. These are the basic things. Things will add on, they depend on the scenarios. That's Rishad is okay, I think.
Yeah.
There is
Yes.
another question. When we prepare the variation rate build-up, where we can get the plant and material labor rate? As you said, we cannot get the day work. Oh, very good question. So variation around 22. That is what I said now. Plant and labor material prices. Plant, if it is hired, you have to go back to your store. If it is labor, you have to go back to your HR. Yes, somehow you need to get it from that.
Farid,
Okay.
bro, one last question.
Here,
I think we are
yeah.
running out of time as well. Can you claim preliminaries in variations? If it is, if there's a prolongation, then you can claim the running cost. If it is not, can you claim anything on preliminaries?
See, if you are sure that there is no prolongation cost, if I am a contractor, I have to get that chance. I will put it part of the variation cost. If I am sure that I will have a prolongation, I will have extension, I will take that opportunity to put it later. This I explained that reason why. If you put it together, maybe both will not get approved. So better you segregate is appreciated. But if you feel that you don't need the money now, your cash flow is perfect, but you need to get the time cost, yes, you have to put it.
But bro, if there's no prolongation, can we claim anything as a professional sum? Because let's say because of the changes in quantity increase on one contract scope items, then can you claim
Quantity
something?
increase, we cannot. Why we ask for a prolongation for the quantity increase?
Let's say we have a block work 1000 meters
Okay.
square, then it increased to 1500. So it's required. Let's say
Additional time.
yeah, not additional times, like temporary facilities, like utilities. It's required. So can you claim something?
Yes, of course. Yes, it is your expenses.
So is there any formal way? Is there any formal provisions in the contracts?
No. Normally, when you say variations, you have to claim all of your expenses. Then you cannot manage your preliminaries because he is increasing the quantity drastically, not the small quantities. Instead of 1,500, he increase it to another 500. Okay, can manageable. But instead of 1,500, he is increasing to 10,000. Of course, your consumption is increasing here. Your water, your scaffoldings and everything is getting increased here. Then you have to perfectly prepare a rate breakdowns actual as per your actual expenses. It's like the
Okay.
method that you do it and you have to claim it. That you can put it as a part of the variation as well. This.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything?
Okay.
Yeah,
we
I have
are,
one question.
we are,
Yeah,
excuse me,
you
yeah,
well,
we're out of the time now. So,
No, it's
so
okay. One more I will
one
accommodate. No
question.
problem.
Yeah,
okay.
actually, we have one. We up like we appointed one consultant. Okay, they are the lead consultant. So what they are doing, they are reviewing the contractor's design drawings and they are giving their feedback and they are making their comments. So in this scenario, is it required PA insurance? My question is out of variation, but I supposed to ask this.
See, they are the lead designer. So who are you are the client?
Yeah.
Okay, who is the actual designer of the project? Is it some consultant?
Yes, some consultant.
See, there is a scenarios. Lead designers also the service provider, and the design consultant also is a service provider.
Yes.
But the contractor is the builders. So the
Yes.
contractors, builders, they are giving their insurance for their buildings. Whoever is
that is
providing
car
the
insurance.
service, whoever is providing the service, they are themselves as they have a professional indemnity insurance with the company.
Yeah, that is
For example,
specific, right? That is not project. That is
yes,
not
that
project
is not
related.
project. That is their umbrella cover
They are,
insurance.
yeah, specific. Yes.
Wherever they go and work, there is insurance cover is there for their
Okay.
professional indemnity. But if I am a client, if I am keeping him as a lead consultant on the project, I will not ask him the professional indemnity because he will add his overhead on his price, because he will charge me a professional indemnity also from his piece. But I don't want that actually, because lead consultant, for me to lead, there are different scenarios. Lead consultant, which purpose you are hiring him? He just want to see the perspective and the layouts. That is a different scenario. I don't need a professional indemnity for him. If some company, if I am bringing the lead consultant as a third party review the design, I need to get it from him the professional indemnity insurance. So it is
that
depend on
PI
the
would
scenario.
be, yeah, that PI would be like project specific or their own in-house PI.
See, basically, if they are if you find the mistakes, for example, they were the lead consultant on this project. Okay, you didn't ask them the professional indemnity insurance. But after 10 years, there was a mistake on the design and then everything is collapsed. Court will call everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Court will call consultant, lead designer, contractor, client, everybody they will call. Okay. Then they will find the mistake is from where. If they find the mistake from the lead consultant, definitely they will sue from the lead consultant indemnity insurance. Because everybody in the company is covered up with that insurance. Whether they are working for you, this client or that client or any other client, their discharging their deliverables are covered by that insurance. But during the project, I didn't ask him because I don't want to end up my professional fees for this project. I didn't ask him. But after 10 years, if they caught the problem with this guy, the indemnity insurance will cover. No problem.
Okay. So finally, my my request is that, so in our scenario, reviewing design and giving their feedback also one of their activity among others, like their certification of contractors, clients and everything. That one also part of their scope. So reviewing design also part of the
Yes.
lead consultant
See,
scope.
certification
So
of contractors payment and stuff like that. It is they have to provide a professional indemnity insurance for that.
So is it project specific or their personal?
See, what they will do normally, consultant, he has the insurance itself with him. Normally,
Yes.
I engage him for the particular project. For example, design of 25-story building. I will call him. I will say, okay, give me a professional indemnity insurance. So he will bring his full cover up insurance named under his company. I will tell him, okay, tell your insurance company to bring the nomination letters or cover letters under my project. He will bring it.
Okay.
And so he will ask his company. He will give a letter for X and Y project. I am engaging my people. He will give a letter. That is good.
Okay.
If I'm a client, I will ask this letter normally. I usually ask the companies.
Is it
Some
a kind
client,
of second-month letter?
yes, they will like the insurance company is confirming that their duty deliverables are covered under this insurance for you, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Some client don't ask it, but
Okay.
better to ask for it.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Okay.
Hope all went okay. You guys are get what you needed. I have a question also now. I don't know which is that. Thank you. Very sure. Great. Thank you very much, everybody. If anything, that see you all in the next session, inshallah. Great.
Yeah. Thank you for your time and thank you for this session. So hope we can do more session in different areas, various areas. So thank you again.
Good. Have a night. Good night. Bye.